We're with you until 6 p.m. today. Anything we said yesterday, disregard. We were wrong. It wasn't a turning point. I know Jim said the season was salvaged, that the World Series was happening, that they could win 120 games based on overcoming that 8-run deficit. No, we didn't say that. But whatever we did say yesterday proves the point that baseball is kind of unique into itself. And momentum can stop in an instant, and starting pitching and all that matters. And still, now I would say this because we did say this yesterday. If they win this series, to be determined, they'll play later today. If they win this series, it's a positive. They haven't won a series all year. This is their fifth. It almost feels like this, Jim. I would just say this. I want to get your 2 cents on this. We could talk about yesterday as well. If they don't win the series and they go to Dodger Stadium and they go to Milwaukee, it's like all of a sudden this whole, hey, you got to go off to a good start. You got to avoid a bad start if you don't win the series with that 6-game roadie coming up. But last night, not perfect. Still a chance to win the series here today.
It's the classic, and I hate the saying. I just do. But you hear it all the time.
I know what you're going to say.
That's baseball.
Oh, or you're as good as your next day's starting pitcher.
That too. But more or less, that's just baseball. You can score 9 runs one day and 1 run the next day.
It's so true.
Momentum? Momentum's not a thing in baseball,
it's not
you
real.
idiots.
Right.
Of course it's
There's no
not.
turning points.
There's no turning points. There's no momentum. It's only about your next day starting pitcher. And one day, the team could be awesome. And the next day, you could suck. And that's what baseball is. Last night's game, to me, was just, incredibly boring. From 1, the on-field product, and 2, my ears. My ears were, bleeding.
Oh, because we had another ump game.
And that's a whole nother discussion, and we might get into that a little bit later.
Probably. Over the next 3 hours, we might spend 3 hours on it.
Yeah. But just from a standpoint of the on-field product last night and the team, it looked like a sleepy walkthrough game for the Padres, and not many chances to score a bunch of runs, and then as soon as Joe Musgrove's out on the mound, he looks shaky, and he was missing by a lot. It wasn't just a little, it was a lot. He seems like he didn't have any control of his breaking pitches. And when he was missing, it was by feet, not inches.
Well, Schulte said a lot of traffic last night against Musgrove. At what point, and I think we've both prevented against this, but if people want to chime in, 70470, start it with team, or 877-767-4760. At what point would you be concerned with Joe Musgrove? I don't think it's now, but in looking at some of the reaction on social media and just looking at his numbers, he's made 4 starts. He hasn't made 1. He has a 6.87 ERA. He's allowed a ton of hits, a ton of quote-unquote traffic, as Schulte would put it. When is it concerning when someone's coming off injury, spring training, whatever, he's a veteran, but his bad spring training has been followed up by a slow start to the year? I said I'll look up at the end of April and see what his numbers look like, but it is 4 starts, and I don't know. It's been shaky, and that's putting it lightly for Joe Musgrove to this point.
Yeah, I don't know when or if, I will start getting worried about Joe Musgrove soon. I don't.
Right.
Because you saw what he did against the Cardinals. He pitched great.
Yes, he did. That was his good start.
So it's not like it's been bad start, bad start, bad start, bad start. He's has had a good start in there.
Yes. 3 bad, 1 good? Would you say?
3 bad, 1 good. Yes. 3 bad, 1 good. And so because of that, I'm not going to just go push the panic button for Joe right now, for No Joe.
Right.
I feel like we have to use a nickname for every player.
Well, especially on the anniversary of his no-hit.
Oh, yeah, it's No Joe for sure. I'm not pushing the panic button there. From a micro standpoint of this team, why is Stephen Kohler? I know I've been complaining a lot about this.
Are you going to break down Stephen Kohler coming in the 5th inning yesterday?
I know I'm complaining a lot about this last night on the wrap-up show and today as well. But Stephen Kolek, really, guys? Are we really going to have Stephen Kolek be? How many times have we seen Stephen Kolek this year? It feels like
half the game. 7.
Yeah, 7 appearances so far for a Rule 5 guy. How many times has he succeeded? 1 time, and everything else has been mop-up duty.
Yeah,
and
this wasn't a mop-up duty yesterday. It was a 1-0 game.
Well, this was hey, you need to go out there and give us innings because Pedro Avila gave us the innings last night. And for me, I'm just like, we can do better.
Yeah, but my theory, and I agree. If Kolek doesn't pitch well and it's May 1st, he's going to have to go.
Bye-bye, gone.
But hear me out.
See ya.
Hear me out, and you've heard me say this before. every bullpen has a worse reliever in it. Everyone. Every bullpen has a worst reliever in it, and every bullpen is asking someone to pitch in non-desirable spots. Now, last night maybe isn't that time. It's 1-0 with the bases loaded in the 5th inning. I don't know if I'm turning to Stephen Kolek there and expecting good results. Here, you want to go micro? Here, I'll go micro because I'm with you. I'm not concerned about Musgrove.
Right.
We can look up at the end of April and have that conversation. I'm not concerned about Stephen Kolek. It's not his fault. We'll figure that out along the way. Something that, again, you mentioned it last night. It was spot on the wrap-up show because this isn't the first time we've seen it. But Ha-Seong Kim, he's going to have to produce. He's going to have to produce. This isn't a slow start, Jim. This is last year, to your point. He hit under 200. I think he had some success in Korea. He's been awful over these last 12 or 13 games. Perfect.
He had no hits in Korea.
Exactly. But it was successful because he was back home.
Hey, he had that one cool moment in the exhibition game.
That's what I'm thinking of. He homered in the exhibition game.
2 home runs, actually.
So he was great in Korea. My point is he hasn't hit. Now, he didn't hit last year in April. So are we concerned about nothing in the micro then? Okay, Kim didn't hit last April. Musgrove's coming off injury. Kolek's a Rule 5 guy. Everything's fine?
No. Musgrove has a bigger track record than Ha-Seong Kim.
Agreed.
That I would lean on and say that that's the reason why he's going to be okay as long as he's healthy.
Yep.
The Ha-Seong Kim thing is interesting. Now, I did post on Twitter last night his stats for April last year. And if you go back and look, because a lot of people forget about it because he had 3.5 amazing months culminating in a July where he had 1,000 OPS.
Yep.
His April last year was god awful. God awful. He had a 556 OPS and he hit 177 in April.
Mm-hmm.
That's worse than he's doing right now. So if Ha-Seong Kim had more, I guess, time in the big leagues and more of a track record, then I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But when you've only had 3.5 good months, in your entire career, basically, it becomes a little concerning. Now, he's had obviously good moments in his first couple of years. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he just didn't do anything his first 2 years in the big leagues, but first year in the big leagues, we all saw it. It was not pretty. He couldn't hit a fastball if his life depended on it. The only thing he was good for was defense. Mm-hmm. Second year, he got a little better offensively, but it still wasn't good enough. And he still was working on some things. And there were moments here and there where you're like, whoa, one in particular. I remember a walk-off home run at Petco Park, but it wasn't a consistent year. And then last year became more consistent after his horrific start to the season. And then he got injured in August, and his September was just as bad as his April.
Can I give you a difference, though?
What's the difference?
He wasn't in the middle of the batting lineup. I just looked it up.
Okay, there you go.
He didn't bat earlier than 6th in the order until May 19th. He batted 9th a ton last year in April. He batted 8th. He batted 9th. He batted 7th. He's protecting Manny Machado right now. Yeah, how's that going?
It's not going well.
How's it going for both of them?
Oh, it's not going well for either of them.
So that's the difference for me. That's the big difference. Now, nobody likes having a guy hit 177, whether you're batting 9th or you're batting 5th or 1st. But you weren't asking him, right? Heading into 2023, we weren't saying, hey, Ha-Seong Kim, you got to do it. You had Soto, you had blah, blah, blah. We've told that story a million times. Now you're saying, hey, Kim's coming off a good year. He's in the meat of that order. He's right in the heart of the lineup. He's got to produce, and he's not. And it's not helping Manny, and it's not helping him either. What do you got, Brent?
Speaking of Kim, John, you said you didn't notice this last night. I don't know if you noticed it, Jim.
Okay.
On that play, I don't remember what inning. Kim, he took that ground ball, and it bounced off, and it ricocheted right to Bogarts, and he stepped on the bag.
Yep.
Did you pay any attention to Bogarts' facial expression when that happened? He didn't make, you'd think it would just, he'd look over at Kim and be like, oh, don't worry about it. We got your back. It worked out. He didn't even glance over in his direction. He just had this look of annoyance on his face and just went right to the dugout.
Should be the shortstop.
Controversy?
Just almost and this is just in my opinion, it almost looked like, he booted those 2 balls on Sunday. And then here would have been another one if he wasn't Johnny on the spot, and it pretty much bounced right to him at second base to get the out. So I was almost wondering if he's just getting frustrated with him in the field with the errors, to where because you know what I mean. Normally he would you think you'd just look over and try and pick up your teammate and just be like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I got your back. It worked out." And he didn't even look at it.
Bogey and Kimmy controversy is playing out. Call. No, I mean I didn't. I'll be honest, because Brent texted about it yesterday, and I didn't.
I saw it briefly on, I think, social media.
I just thought it was weird.
Did people react to it?
I don't take anything from it, honestly.
Okay.
It's not something I think.
Was it less egregious or more egregious than Tommy Pham running into Asa Kim and just leaving him on the field with like a concussion?
Less egregious.
Less. It's very passive aggressive compared to that.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Again, 6-8 is 6-8, and I'm not losing sleep over it, but I will say this. If you don't win today, and by the way, you got Dylan Cease here to win a game like today. So let's see if the Padres can win a game like today. But if you didn't win today,
everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the first order of business,
right,
is
exactly.
Where are you moving the team? No, you'd be 6-9 going to Dodger Stadium. So it wouldn't be ideal, is my point. I mean, everyone's like, hey, fast start, erase 2023. You'd be 6-9 going to Dodger Stadium. Spin that for me. Someone spin that for me as positive.
And you have a tough road trip here. You could look at the end of this month and be like, man, we got some work to do. And I don't know if this team is built for like that big comeback. And like, I know they had one the other night. What I meant is like they're 8 games out of a playoff spot or something. I don't know if they can. How long is that going to take to make up?
At least 8 games.
Well, I know that, John, but you know what I mean. Like, it just.
You're saying if we got to the end of April and they really played poorly.
Yeah.
I'm making it up. How many? They're 11-19.
Okay.
And it's in April. And, 10 games out of the division.
11-19.
I mean,
oh no.
Well, again, if you did, there's the choose your own adventure books. This might be too old for Jim, but not for Brent.
No, you mentioned them. You mentioned them before.
I know I have, but you've never read a book, so I could mention anything. Have you ever heard of the Bible?
Well, what?
Have you ever heard of anything? But have you ever heard of Dr. Seuss? But in Choose Your Own Adventure books,
I have heard of Dr. Seuss.
Choose Your Own Adventure was like, go to page 10 if you want to take the raft. Go to page 11 if you want to take the airplane.
For my era, it's video games. They go, all right.
No, we had video games too.
Yeah, but they do the same thing in video games.
There's
Choose Your Own Adventure
where they didn't have books.
Yeah. But even today, Choose Your Own Adventure in video games more than they do in books.
Like Oregon Trail?
Yeah. Like, hey.
I'm guessing you died a lot of different things.
I died a lot in Oregon Trail.
Well, you don't in Choose Your Own
Dysentery.
You're not in Choose Your Own Adventure, but hear me. I don't even know where I'm going. Okay, there's 2 adventures we can choose here.
Ooh,
I'm saying
like
if Cease isn't the stopper and you're 6-9 going to Dodger Stadium, nobody wants to go down that Oregon Trail because all of a sudden you're dying.
Yes.
Or you get Cease the stopper and you're 7-8, and what a difference a day makes, and everything is fine. You've won your first series of the year.
Oh no, Becky died of pneumonia.
Is that what happened in that? I don't remember that specifically.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
It's literally what happens, yeah.
But you know what I mean? I mean, we said it Monday. If they didn't come back from 8-0 down, hear me out for a second. If they didn't come back from 8-0 down, like 99.9% of teams don't do.
Well, then it's
Sunday, the Kim game. It's Monday, we got beat 8 whatever. It's yesterday, we were lifeless.
Yes.
So what a difference a game can make. And that's why I would say I can sell this game on April, whatever it is. What day is it?
It's April 10th, John.
I can sell this game as important because I think the difference between 6-9 going to Dodger Stadium and 7-8 actually feels different.
Is it a must-win game?
No.
Okay.
Of course not. Of course it's not.
It's a very important game today.
There we go.
There we go. I'm with you. It's a very important game. You have to have a good outing from Dylan Cease. The 3:40 start time is, let's just call it what it is. It's stupid.
I'm not going that far. I just want an explanation.
Me too. Why are you having a 3:40 start time? Makes no sense.
No, you and I are mad about it because our show is on at 3 in the afternoon.
Yes, John. That's why.
Okay.
Well, even if we didn't have a show, 3:40 still is like really weird.
I was looking for an explanation. I've asked everyone, and nobody has given me anything other than, hey, maybe they just want to play games at 3:40, which is fine. That's probably the reason.
Okay. I guess
it's not too early like 1:10. It's not too late like 6:40. It's meeting in the middle, but it's weird to do a Manny Machado bobblehead in the middle of the afternoon during a work week.
And you're gonna get a packed house today because of the Manny Machado bobblehead. Yeah, it's a bobblehead. Yeah. Everyone loves a bobblehead.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's weird. Do you want to get into this umpire stuff?
Yes, I will actually. Okay, couple things here. I want to preface this because I think we did it last week or whenever they played. So every Tuesday home game is the Mike Winters in the booth. I'm an umpire, and of course, someone had an idea that having an umpire in a booth for 9 innings was a good idea. But let me preface this by saying this. This has nothing to do with Mike Winters.
No.
Because I just think it's a bad idea. It could be any umpire. This has nothing to do with anyone that's called these games on TV because they've rotated. Don had one of them. Jesse had another.
Yeah.
But, I feel like they're really reaching because nobody has ever asked for more umpire chatter over 9 innings. Here's the one usage that's appropriate. Have the guy for all 162. And you're saying, John, what are you talking about? When there's a challenger replay, say, Mike, can you take us through this challenge? The Padres have just challenged the play on field. What do you think? Was this batter out of the base path or not? Tell us why with your experience. Give me 15 seconds like Mike Pereira. Boom. But to have him in there for all 9 innings isn't fair to the viewer, isn't fair to Mike Winters, isn't fair to the TV commentators.
The whole thing about baseball is let's try to make it more appealing to
Right.
the younger audience.
Or anyone.
Or just any audience. There's probably some old timers out there. They're like, oh, I love this. This is awesome. I love hearing about the rule book. I'm sorry, kids, me, you, Brent, like the rule book. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about the rule book. I don't care about like, hey, is this what play does this, look like it happened here? Like what happened here? Like, I don't care about umpire positioning. I don't care. I care if
what about equipment issues with catchers?
I care about if Manny Machado like hits a home run. I care about if Fernando Tatis Jr. does something amazing in the field.
Not if CB Buckner missed a strike call.
No.
Yeah, it's like you said. I'm sure Mike Winters is a very nice guy.
Absolutely.
But it's just, what's the point? What are we getting? Because obviously the viewers and the listeners haven't really enjoyed it from what I've seen on social media, and I don't know what the Padres would be necessarily getting out of it. And then it just seems like he spends half the time they're either just trying to, I guess, force him into the conversation to where like he's just sitting there and they're like, well, that was an interesting grounder. If that would have moved over 3 feet, how would have you handled that? Just to kind of get him in the conversation
on the field, Mike Winters.
But then the thing that just made me explode last night was
Brent texted us
a
lot of angry words. Yeah, we were like,
very mad.
Yeah. And I think it was like the 7th or the 8th inning when he goes, "Oh yeah, pitch track's wrong. Pitch track isn't as accurate as people think it is. There's actually more than 2 different kinds of pitch track, and they vary and they don't agree with each other." Where he pretty much said that they're more accurate than pitch track.
Yeah, stop listening.
Yeah, I honestly turned the volume way down.
I didn't.
I had it way down, but it's like one of those selective hearing things where all of a sudden it peaked up. Yeah, he pretty much said the pitch track is wrong and that they're better and more accurate than a computer.
877-767-4760 or 70470 start with team. Does anyone love it? Not just maybe someone likes it. To your point, Jim. Maybe there's someone that's an old timer, has watched the game for 60 plus years, enjoys that type of conversing. Does anyone love it? Has it made the viewing experience exponentially better? Has it enhanced what you're watching on Tuesday nights? No one.
No.
Those people don't exist. And by the way, if it's such compelling television, why are we doing it once a week?
I thought last night to start, because they weren't talking to him as much to start the game.
They weren't.
And I thought to myself, okay, maybe they listened, they got some feedback, and this is going to be a situation how it should be, where they go to him a couple times a game for potential challenge plays or ruling plays or should the Padres challenge this Mike Winters, like those types of things. And that could be very beneficial because a lot of times they're the broadcasters of the Padres, but you get it from a biased standpoint sometimes from Mud, sometimes all the time from Mud and Don. And that's fine. That's what their job is. Nothing against them for that. They should do that. So sometimes you need an unbiased opinion. And sometimes if you get an unbiased opinion, it might make things a little better. And that's where I was hoping they were going to go with that last night. And then they just completely said, F it. And they started turning it into another conversation. And it just was like, okay. And then the game sucked. So you have the game that sucks.
And then they got to go to the umpire because the game sucks.
Right. Because they can't, they have to try to fill. And it's so hard to do that when this team is not performing on the field because you got 3 hours to fill. And
no, I think Don and Mud though are fine.
they're fine.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
called
yeah.
a lot
Great.
of 5-1 games.
They've called a lot of
that
games
they
where the
don't
team was
need
getting their
Mike.
ass
They
kicked,
don't
yeah.
need Mike Winners. I would say that if you're going to use an umpire, use it like the NFL uses Mike Pereira.
Yes.
That's the effective way, in my opinion.
It's funny because I told you last night I have a connection to Mike Winters just a little bit. When I was dating this girl years ago, she was roommates with
Close your ears, Aaron.
she was roommates with Mike Winters' daughter. And so we like hung out.
You and Mike Winners hung out.
Not Mike Winters, Mike Winters' daughter.
I hope Aaron's working right now. I don't wanna start a
Ironically, her name was Aaron.
Aaron, Mike Winners' daughter?
Yeah.
This is getting weird. What do you have, Brent?
So Jim's got an Aaron fetish.
Sorry.
It's kind of weird too that when you're asking questions to the ump, all the good questions are going to get taken away on that first episode.
Right,
So,
right. There's nothing
Last
else to
Tuesday,
ask.
exactly. All the good questions were asked. I say good questions in air quotes. All the good questions were asked on Tuesday. Like, oh well, when they're having their meeting on the mound, what do you guys say to them when you go out there or something? Now they have nothing left to ask them, and it showed.
But you can use the hashtag Ask the Ump and get your questions in for the next Tuesday home game for Mike Winners. If you haven't gotten them in,
they will read my question just like the Packers post game would read my questions. I would send to them when I ran that.
All right, let's hear from Schulte on the other side. Mike Schulte before today's game against the Cubs, the rubber match of this 3-game series. Also, a very controversial question. We'll try to answer coming up later this hour. Should WWE results be a part of sports updates like Jim Russell provided earlier this week? Stay with us on Jon and Jim. So for the past month, if not more, it feels like I'm always on the go and I'm always starving and I'm always looking for something. And that's where Almond RX packs have been a game changer, really, for me and my family, because everyone wants to eat healthy when they're on the go, but it's so easy to be unhealthy. And you go to a vending machine and you waste money and you're eating things that aren't healthy. So get your daily dose of vitamin D. It's an immunity booster. Everyone wants a healthy snack, but not just healthy, it's tasty. It curbs hunger. Look no further than Almond RX, the first and only skinless almond fortified with vitamin D. You get your daily serving of 23 almonds in every single pack. Founded by a San Diego sports medicine physician, Almond RX is packed with a powerhouse of nutrients supporting your heart, your cellular health, your gut health as well. You can find Almond RX right here in San Diego at any Foodland in San Diego, Harvest Ranch in Encinitas, or at almondrx.com. That's ALMONDRX.com. In fact, if you go there right now, you're getting free shipping on your order of $25 or more. So visit right now, almondrx.com. It's going to curb your hunger. It's healthy, they're tasty, and it's perfect for the on-the-go lifestyle.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres lost to the Cubbies last night 5-1. Final game of the 3-game series this afternoon, 3:40 first pitch. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres, looking for their first series win of the year. The WNBA announced today that the Indiana Fever, the team that will draft Caitlin Clark with the number 1 overall pick this year, will have 36 of their 40 games this season on national television. And according to a source, the NHL plans to move the Phoenix Coyotes to Utah. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even same day. And now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Offer ends 6/1. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
Results be in sports updates. People are weighing in. You'll hear those people coming up at 3:45. They're talking about on WFAN in New York.
Yeah, by people, we mean Boomer.
The longest running sports station in America.
That's great. I'm sure probably somebody in their sports station mentioned it, and then they freaked out because there were a bunch of boomer.
They are boomer.
Well,
because they're
literally.
boomer.
Yeah,
literally and figuratively.
Well, listen, you would trade places probably with them because they're probably making 1,400 times more than you're making.
Correct.
Well, yeah, and Boomer still has his QB money. So
True, he does.
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, we can hear it, and we'll
hear it, and
we
we'll
can hear it.
We'll talk about it.
Mike Schilt. Okay, he has spoken with the media today.
Mike Schilt.
Schulte.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so this was prior to the game on the Padres production they're getting right now from the top of the lineup.
Top part of your lineup. It's been consistent all season long. The top 3 guys have done a great job. In fact, I think the number 2 right now in RBIs, number 5 in hits, home runs, and runs scored. Just how important is it to get that kind of production out of the top 3 guys?
It's really important to get it. They've done a tremendous job. I appreciate you supporting the numbers because we get questioned a lot about the lineup. And so I feel pretty good about the consistency of the lineup relative to that production you're talking about. Is it going to happen all the time? No. Again, going back to the game could be a challenge. No one likes to maybe hear that, but we are getting well above average production on top of the lineup. We got really good players, and they're doing a really nice job, and they got a great approach to what we're doing.
Dylan Cease going for you today. He was outstanding in the last outing. The slider really seems to be coming along and just seems to get stronger and stronger each outing. Anticipating more of that again today.
Yeah, just expecting Dylan to show up and be him. Him is plenty good enough. Electric fastball. You mentioned the slider's completely filthy. It's 2 outlier plus pitches, and look forward to seeing him compete today.
Kyle Hendricks on the mound for the Cubs today. Obviously, a guy who's been around a long time, a veteran. What kind of challenges does that present today?
I've seen Kyle a long time, many years competing against Kyle, and he's a good competitor. He's in his 11th year over there with Chicago, and he does a good job. He's a pitcher's pitcher. He knows what he's going to do. He's going to add, subtract. He's going to go in. He's going to get out. He's not going to beat himself. And so, it's a matter of taking the good at bats, having the right approach.
All right, so Kyle Hendricks is a pitcher's pitcher. We learned that today.
He owns the Padres.
It's not a hitter's pitcher because that wouldn't be good.
No.
He has absolutely dominated the Padres in his career. Now, does that change today with Manny Machado bobblehead day?
You hope so.
And the first ever 3:40 start time in the history of Petco Park, arguably. I'm making that up.
I can't remember another time that a game
You're
started at
gonna have a lot
3:40.
of setting sun over the course of this game.
That's why I'm so curious about this. There has to be some type of reason.
There's not, because they're playing 5 3:40 games this year.
But then why?
Because they determined it.
But why?
Because they decided. Call Eric Rubner.
I want a definitive, here's the reason why we're doing this at 3:40. Screw the shadows.
Ask
screw
Google.
the shun. The
sun?
The sun.
I don't think the sun's
in
a factor.
our first baseman's face. Screw it.
Hey, you might get a shunburn.
Yeah.
A shunburn, yeah. I don't know. But
what'd you make of what Schulte had to say there?
Apparently I didn't know the top of the lineup was like the 27 Yankees.
He's getting a lot of questions about the lineup. Every manager gets questions about their lineup. You could be 10-2 or 2-10.
Yeah.
Every manager gets questions about the lineup.
Let's not act like this team is like the greatest team ever yet. All right.
No, I mean, the offense, we keep going back to the same thing. Highs and lows, I think it's been better than league average. But you look at the last 6 or 7 games, and there's been a lot of games where they've scored like 2 runs or less. Yes, they had the 8-run comeback, which was terrific. It really was. But I think people probably should be asking about the lineup, right? I mean, they lost 5-1 yesterday. They're 6-8 overall. What else do you want them to ask about?
Yeah. the lineup is a question every day for this team for the last 10 years.
Right, exactly.
Because there's, besides the start of last season, and then it turned into a lot of questions because they were not producing. But we started the show with, it's a problem when you have Ha-Seong Kim producing like he is right now, which is next to nothing in the middle of your order behind Manny Machado. Now, you did get dropped down to 6th instead of 5th, but still you're hitting it in a spot in the lineup where you're still going to have to like produce. It's not like you're hitting 9th. And even if it's whoever's hitting 9th, Jackson Merrill,
they still have to produce too.
That's produced too. And he's actually done really well.
Yep.
Like, oh, why isn't Jackson Merrill moving up in the lineup? Because
he's chill.
He's, I don't know, 20 and performing and producing at where he's at. Like, just keep him there and let him cook. Let him do his thing.
Broke, don't fix it. Now, at some point, what'll be interesting is if they do not hit consistently, and if the record, gets worse than it is right now, there probably will be more pressure to make more sizable change. Will they avoid that, though? Will they hold the line and keep Merrill hitting 8th or 9th, or will they move him towards the top of the lineup if the team isn't playing well or scoring runs? That'll be interesting. And when do they make a determination like that? But I'm with you on Merrill. Again, I'm not really going to be blaming the offense for the team being 6-8. Like, I'm not saying, hey, it's the offense's reason. That's the reason why they're 6-8. I'd actually probably put it more on
pitching,
their bullpen.
I'd put it on, more their pitching.
You know what I mean? I'd put it more on pitching than hitting overall.
Right.
I don't know. They seem like an average team to me, and that's why they have an average record so far.
And they can become a better team if the stars perform. Manny had a nice game yesterday, but no one else around him did anything.
Right.
Like, it'd be cool, like, if, they like all did stuff and like were consistent. That's the biggest thing is they have not been consistent for how long? I mean, it's been years.
But I guess let me ask you this, because I hear this all the time with the Padres, not consistent. Consistent meaning they score 5 runs every game, not 3 sometimes and 7 the others.
I know that the bar is very high and it's hard. It's always hard to say, like, just be like the Dodgers. Like, I'm not saying that, but
just be the most productive offense.
But if you're looking at the consistent teams in baseball,
are they consistent or the best? That's what I'm saying. Are they the best offense or the most consistent?
They're probably towards the top of the standings for the teams that are the most consistent, like offensively.
Well, but the teams are consistent because of their record, or their offenses are consistent. What does consistent mean? They're the best offenses?
If the Padres score 9 runs one game, and then 1 run the next game, and then 3 runs the next game, and then 2 runs, and then 1 run, and then 5 runs, that's not consistent in my eyes. That's like all over the place. You don't know what you're getting from day to day. You don't know if this team is going to have a breakout game where they score 9 runs, and you don't know if this team is going to come out and go, lifeless and score 1 run. That's what I'm talking about with this Padres team.
Okay. So,
and being consistent.
I mean, I feel like you'd probably say that against about most teams.
Because you can say, look, the Padres are averaging like, and I don't think this number is correct, but I'm just using this as an example. Oh, they're averaging 4.2 runs per game. That's pretty good. Well, it's because they scored 15 runs on Sunday.
Sure.
Like that's factored into the equation to why they're averaging 4.5 runs. But you didn't tell me that the next 4 games they didn't score more than 3 runs.
As Manny would say, though, and as I would say, well, that's baseball. It's going to be hard to consistently score 5 runs.
I know, but it's I'd rather like 4 out of the 7 days a week, you're scoring 4 to 5 runs consistently. And then the other games, you're going to have to win 3-2 or 2-1 instead of having those just, 9-run, 10-run, 13-run outings. And then you go a week straight not scoring more than 3 runs.
Yeah, the problem is comparing anyone to the Dodgers, because I'll use the Dodgers. They're consistent, but I would also say, translation, they're the
Dodgers. I get it.
Yeah, like here's what they've done. I'm going to run through their runs scored this year. 5, 11, 7, 6, 5, 5, 8, 5, 5, 7, 4, 1, 4, 6, 2. Yeah, but they're really good. So they've scored, I don't know what that average is, 5-6 runs a game. But again, it's hard to compare yourselves to the Dodgers because they're also 10-4.
And then you look at the Padres, it's like 2-2-3-2-2-9-1. Like that,
Right,
you know.
right.
So that's where the problem with this Padres team is they'll go along. It feels like they go on long stretches, like weeks of going 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, through 2 runs, 1 run.
Well, let's do it. 2, 15, 6,
okay.
3, 6, 13, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 9, 1. That's just who they are. They're not an elite offense.
No,
they're just not. I mean, they have the ability to be a good offense. They're not going to be an elite offense playing at Petco Park. All right, on the other side, the controversy that's brewing around the nation. Should WWE results be put in sports updates on sports talk radio stations like this one, San Diego Sports 760, or New York City, WFAN? That's next on Jon and Jim. All right, the controversy over WWE results. Should they be talked about on Sports Talk Radio or not? Boomer and Gio, WFAN, FAN have weighed in. That's next. Radio app. You can listen to Jon and Jim anytime on the free iHeartRadio app. All right, it was Monday, and Jim and Brent were very excited. We were just off of WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia.
Correct. Good job.
Huge crowds.
Massive crowds.
Large audiences on Peacock, according to Jim, in terms of minutes watched.
Largest ever.
Largest ever, Jim tells us. However, the controversy brewing is whether or not WWE results, like WrestleMania, this marquee event for this entertainment company, should be featured in sports updates around the country, like this station here, San Diego Sports 760, or WFAN in New York. So this is Boomer and Gio, a very successful morning show in New York City. Probably more successful than this show, arguably.
Hey, right? They're not back-to-back UT winners.
True. Yeah. They've never won Best Show in San Diego. That's a very good point.
That is true. Yep.
Good point.
Losers.
This is their conversation over WWE results.
And then I heard Peter Schwartz doing the overnight update. And here is the end of that update that I wanted to share with you to get your opinion.
Okay.
Your journalistic opinion.
All right. Love it.
All right. So let's take a listen.
Devils lose to the Predators 3-2 in the shootout at The Rock. And at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, Cody Rhodes, he finishes the story. He defeats Roman Reigns to win the WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship. And that's what's happening with Sports Flashes. At the top of the hour, I'm Peter Schwartz.
Okay.
All right, so WWE is scripted.
Yep.
It's not a sport.
It's not. I mean, they are athletes, and what they do is I could never do. However, the results are scripted.
Right. I mean, like, I understand everything that, and I've seen all the documentaries. I've seen all the horrors of what, former wrestlers have gone through.
Yeah.
I now know that, of course, The Rock was involved in this thing.
Yeah.
He looked great, and everybody is, but it's like going to a Broadway play.
It's essentially like, now I know the finale last night, I have not seen it, of Curb Your Enthusiasm. The series finale was last night. It's essentially like saying what happened at the end of that finale and putting it in the sports update. It's the same type of thing.
Yeah, so I guess Peter's obviously a huge wrestling fan. I would imagine.
Or his kids are, or whatever. I mean, enough to put it in there. I mean, and I am not downplaying the popularity of WrestleMania. It was huge. The link was filled. It got probably a gazillion pay-per-view buys or a Peacock, whatever. But to put it in the update after the Devil score, come on.
So 2 things. One, who was the update guy again?
Peter Schwartz.
His updates.
They've run you out of town. You should hear the top of the hour updates on WFAN are like 2.5 minutes long.
His updates are fantastic. Like, by fantastic, I mean they're the best I've ever heard.
No, all their guys. I mean, again, Jim. I mean, they're just asking you to do updates, and
they're like, "Hey, can you just like do something
right.
like at the top and the bottom of the hour?"
So anyway, that's your takeaway. Peter Schwartz does a better sports.
That was my first takeaway. Like, man, that sounded really good. Number 2,
that's something to strive for.
Yeah,
I mean, who cares? Like, who cares? It's a sports entertainment event. If they want to put Cody Rhodes in the update, guess what? One of the most popular things this weekend, probably the most popular thing this weekend, besides, well, I would say it was big. Yeah, the most popular thing this weekend was Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns.
No, it wasn't.
What was was more popular?
I would say the men's and women's national championship games that were consumed by 40 million people. What do you mean nope? It's subjective. You can't say nope. You don't know the answer to that.
But 18 million people saw the women's game, 15 million people saw the men's game, and like 40 million people saw
arguable.
WrestleMania.
The stat you gave me yesterday didn't prove that. You said how many minutes were consumed and how many viewers over 2 days. It's not as discernible as that.
What was the most
popular
thing?
There were not 40 million people watching on
WrestleMania.
Peacock. There weren't 40 million people watching on Peacock. You said it yesterday to me.
My point is, if something in the sports entertainment world, which WWE is, turned out to be the most popular or one of the most popular things of the sporting weekend, why does it matter if it's an update or not?
Well, that's the discussion point. Now, I understand. That's like saying, I agree with you. Would you agree the NFL is pretty popular in America?
No, that's subjective. There's no way to
Would
prove
you
that,
agree
John.
that the NFL is popular in America?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, how much time do you spend on it in your sports updates?
Very little.
How come?
Because
but
there's no
I thought
NFL
it was based
in
on
town.
popularity.
There's no NFL in town.
I didn't see WWF in town.
They have been in town. They
were
were
great. The NFL's been in town too.
But the WWE has been in town more recent than the NFL.
So that makes it more relevant to our listeners.
I think that there are more wrestling fans out there
than NFL fans.
No. Just hear me out.
I'm amazed by this.
Hear me out. There's more wrestling fans out there than you think.
Oh, maybe. I'm not arguing how many fans there are, but I think there's a lot of NFL fans.
I think there's a lot of NFL fans too. But when I say
Broncos beat the Seahawks 23-16.
Josh Allen got a new 5-year deal with the Jaguars.
I say you're talking about the defensive end.
Yeah. But again, does that resonate more with an audience over Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns?
Maybe
it does. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't.
All right, here's my couple things.
Oh, you got things written
down. Weighing in. He has written down.
It was an overnight
True.
sports report. So this thing probably aired at like 3 in the freaking morning.
True.
Who cares? I don't care if he just does tennis and golf for his entire update. It's 3 in the morning. He can do whatever he wants.
That's fair.
It's not like this was a 3 in the afternoon drive time, report. This was in the overnights where nobody was listening because it probably happened at like 2:33 in the morning. 2, the whole curbed thing, that's just a dumb analogy. Curbed has nothing to do with sports or at least athleticism. They at least gave the wrestler guys credit for being athletes and doing athletic things.
Right.
What's athletic about the episode of Curbed that
Nothing.
you should put that in the update because it's exactly the same? No, it's not the same thing. So it's just them throwing a fit over something that happened on an overnight sports report. And the other thing is, it was WrestleMania. It's not like he's giving out results of a random Raw episode on Monday, every week or something like that. It's WrestleMania. It's like the biggest thing ever. If you don't put like NASCAR or something in your updates, but you might mention the Daytona 500, just because it's the biggest thing of the year for that.
No, we could just say it. I mean, it's fair. Jim would put in his. I would do the same thing. I would put different things in my updates because of things I like, just like Jim would put different things in his update because of things he likes, just like Peter Schwartz would put different things in his updates because of things he likes, right?
Mhm.
That's really what it is. It's
Yeah.
personal taste.
Right. And
It's that we're not polling the audience.
no. But I would say that I don't think anybody would sit there and be like, why didn't you put that Cody Rhodes won the undisputed championship in your update?
Right.
I don't think anybody's sitting there saying that, but I also don't think anybody's sitting there saying, why did you, besides Boomer and Gio, why did you put that in your sports update?
Should WWE results be put in sports updates? Our informal poll says 56% yes, 44% no. You can go to our YouTube channel and vote right now.
Yeah.
Search for Jon and Jim 760. All right, let's get to the wrap on the other side. In the 4 o'clock hour, this is what happens when the Padres are playing. In the 4 o'clock hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Neil Young and Crazy Horse April 25th at the Calcoast Credit Union Amphitheater. Hour 2, Jon and Jim, we're with you until 6 p.m. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres Cubs, final game of their 3-game series. Bottom of the second inning there. Scoreless at Petco Park. They have an off day tomorrow, the Padres do, before they go on a 6-game road trip starting on Friday in LA versus the Doyers. Moving over to the WNBA, they announced today that the Indiana Fever, the team that's going to draft Caitlin Clark with the #1 overall pick, will have 36 of their 40 games on national television next year. And according to sources, the NHL plans to move the Phoenix Coyotes to Utah. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even same day. And now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchases of $150 or more. Offer ends 6/1. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on coming off of this type of musical bed, but I will. San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2, Jon and Jim, it's live radio. We're with you until 6 p.m. We'll get to the wrap in a moment. We have Neil Young tickets we'll give away later this hour. I have a question for you before we get going with the wrap.
What is it?
And again, this is something that would be hard to decipher.
Okay.
But do you think on average baseball players are good on their bobblehead days? So there's been lots of bobblehead days with players.
Good question.
And it would be hard to really parse through the data. Maybe we could just use the Padres as an example. Like go through the last 5 years. They've had, 5 bobbleheads a year. Are the players typically producing on their bobblehead game?
Remember, was it last year or the year before that Jake Cronenworth didn't even play on his bobblehead game?
I remember that, yeah. I guess sometimes with pitchers, they might not pitch on their bobblehead.
Yeah. It's a hit and miss. I don't think it's like a man, you get a bobblehead, you're going to perform on that day 100% of the time.
All right, I was kind of thinking today, this Manny's bobblehead, and he's struggled a bit to start the year. Maybe this will be a big breakout game for Manny, but he actually had 2 hits yesterday.
Correct.
So, it's probably hard to say that just because you have a promotion based on you're going to have a big game.
I mean, it's cool. Like, I've always wanted a bobblehead, but I don't know what I would get as a bobblehead.
What do you mean?
Like
the back of your head?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Like your back,
like holding up my phone, the back of my head.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. That'd be a great bobblehead.
Awesome. First 40,000 listeners.
Yes,
we're going to get that bobblehead. Yeah, that would be a good one. Mine would just be me drinking kombucha
and
Nova kombucha
on your computer, like Ken Palm rankings.
Yeah, I'd have a computer and a kombucha.
Yeah,
that's exactly
with some tofu or something.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Dan Hurley on the move or not from Connecticut off back-to-back championships. Is he heading to Kentucky? You'll hear from Dan Hurley with the Herd coming up at 4:30. Right now, though, let's get to this.
Would you guys take a 3-3 record for the Padres on their upcoming roadie?
100% yes.
You're signed up for that right now, right?
Signing up for it right now. Because even if you get swept at Dodger Stadium, it means you're going to sweep the Brewers.
Right.
I'm taking 3-3 in a second.
Yeah. I agree. I would take 3-3. The way I look at it is, okay, you can live with going 1-2 at Dodger Stadium. You can live with going 2-1 in Milwaukee, or the opposite of that. You win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers and you lose 2 out of 3 against the Brewers, because the alternative could be a lot worse. What if you get swept in one of those series and lose 2 out of 3 in another? I mean, you go 1-5 on a road trip like that. So yeah, 3-3 against 2 good teams on the road. I think you'd absolutely take that. Next question.
Would attending the Eagles-Packers Week 1 NFL game in Brazil be on your bucket list?
I'm ready for the comeback. Well, maybe if I was an Eagles fan.
You are an Eagles fan.
There we go. Knew that was coming.
Right.
No, it's not on a bucket list. I was actually thinking about bucket list items the other day, because I was
sports bucket list.
I was like, man, I would like to go to a WrestleMania. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe a Super Bowl if my team wasn't in it, because I would just be a complete wreck if I went to watch the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I would love to go to Augusta for the Masters at least 1 year. But a regular season game overseas in the NFL, no.
Not on your bucket list. I think it would be neat. I do. I mean, if you're a fan of the Eagles or the Packers, I think it would be pretty cool. But No, that's not my bucket list. Friday night, Brazil, Eagles, Packers. No, to be honest, it's probably not on my bucket list. I think it'd be a cool experience. I'm sure it'll be crazy with tourism. I'm sure there'll be a ton of Americans at that game, but no, not on my list.
You hear Mad Dog's rant about it?
No, what did
he
say?
was going off.
Is he in
this
favor?
This is like maybe like a month ago.
What's the problem with it?
He hates how if you're an Eagles fan, you should be like irate that they took one of your home games and put it.
But isn't that what they do with games in London every year for every team?
Yeah.
Well,
in Germany,
he hated it that it was the opening game of the year.
Yeah. Well, it's the second game. There's the Thursday opener, and then there's the Friday opener.
For the Eagles, it's their
opening
opener.
game for and the Packers.
And the Packers, yeah. So
Get over it.
I know.
Is what I would say. Next question.
At least there's not a time zone change, so you don't have to get up.
Is that right?
Well, it's Brazil, so there'll be some change, but it's not like when they play in Germany and you got to get up at 5 a.m. to watch the game.
Right. Okay. Next question.
Do you think Tiger's going to make the cut this weekend?
I don't. The weather conditions are already kind of wonky there.
I saw that.
So I'm going to say no.
Because of the weather.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. If it was perfect conditions, he might have a shot, but I'm going to say no on this one. I was listening to a podcast last night about somebody that played a couple practice rounds already at Augusta and said that, this was one of his first times playing there.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was telling him how much they change the course every year. Like they just add trees at this certain spot. They move the tee boxes like 50 yards,
right.
It's like crazy.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't think he's gonna make the cut just because he hasn't played much and he just keeps getting older. And when was the last time he made a cut in an event?
It's been a while. He did mention the other day that he feels like he has one more left in him.
One more run?
I got one more
that'd be
run
incredible.
in me.
That would honestly be incredible. I mean, it would be impressive. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see him make the cut. I can't forecast that though. Next question.
Should Augusta National also have a women's tournament in addition to the Masters?
I'm watching that.
I know you are.
Play on replay. Are you going to answer this?
I want you to answer this first.
Because you didn't hear the question?
No, I heard the question.
Okay. Should Augusta National also have a women's tournament in addition to the Masters? I would say yes. They have a women's amateur event. I heard what the director of Augusta National had to say. He's like, there's not enough time in the schedule. I'm like, there isn't. It's like, it's not a summer course. It closes in May. It's used in the spring and the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So he said there's just no time for it in the calendar. I'm like, I don't know if that's the actual reason. There's no time for it. You have one event there a year. So I think if they wanted to, they would do it. I think the real answer is they don't want to do it. That's what I would guess would be the reason. They don't want to. Not because there's no time for it.
Augusta is the most prestigious golf course, I would argue, in the world.
Okay.
And I agree on the sense that maybe you should open up to more events, maybe, but that's what makes the Masters so iconic.
I agree with that, but I mean,
is that it's only played for one tournament a year.
But it's only also open. It's only a men's tournament.
I know it is.
And it is played more than that because there's amateur events there.
There is. But it took them a long time to change things at Augusta.
Oh, you think?
I don't think they're going to open it up for a women's Masters.
No, not will they. Should they?
Oh, well,
big difference.
I mean, yeah, that'd be kind of cool if you're a women's golfer. Hell yeah, I'd want them to open it up for a tournament at Augusta for me.
And again, you're seeing the rise in popularity, obviously.
Okay, I don't watch golf, so you might have the answer. What's the women's equivalent of the Masters then, since they don't have the Masters?
That's a good question. I mean, they have majors, obviously.
They have the women's US Open.
Yeah.
They have
PGA
the
Championship.
Women's PGA Championship.
I don't know if there's an equivalent of that's a good question. But something they play on every year that's a major. They may not have
the men every year. It's it's the Masters.
That's a great question.
What's the equivalent for the women golfers of the Masters?
Jim should know that.
I don't know that. I'm sorry. I don't follow much women's golf.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
The current version is it's different. It's different than it looks like there's 5 or 6 quote unquote major events, but it's different. So I don't know. I don't watch it either. But again, I think should it? Yeah, probably. I mean, is there scrutiny in not having a women's event when you have a men's event? That makes sense. They've been a bit slow to change over the years. shouldn't take away from them. I'm not saying, hey, not having a women's event takes away from, having a Masters. Obviously, the Masters is brilliant television. Yeah. So it is what it is, I guess, is what I would say. It does not surprise me that they would be slow to make that addition. It just does not. But you don't have time.
Well, that course, John, is so big.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The condition of the course this weekend, hopefully it's not raining or anything,
right,
is going to be perfect.
Okay.
The greens are perfect. And when you have a golf tournament on it, it does take some time to get it back to perfection. And you have other things there that, the people are walking the course, right? They've the grandstands, they have the patrons, they have.
But isn't that true for all courses like Pebble Beach? Public, right?
Yeah.
Play U.S. Opens.
But what I'm saying is that Augusta's, I think, just different. Like, it's just different.
Okay.
I'm not saying they shouldn't.
Right.
I'm just saying their rules are different than everyone else's rules, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I buy that. I mean, I think, listen, heading into the one unique thing about the Masters coming up this week where things have changed is you get live and PGA golfers, right? Like where things that you don't get live and PGA golfers on the same course much anymore, right? The Opens and the Masters. Is that right?
The majors.
Not PGA Championship because there's no live golfers in the PGA Championship.
Right.
So 3 majors a year is when you get all golfers on the course.
The Ryder Cup every 2 years.
Okay. That includes all?
Includes all.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah,
so
you
don't get, but you're only getting it 3-4 times a year on average right now. So that does make it pretty, again, there no longer do you have the Tiger Woods dominating the PGA and majors and it's must. I don't think a lot of people are going to their television to watch Tiger Woods this weekend. Would you agree with that? Because he may not even appear this weekend.
He will appear.
Not this weekend, potentially.
Potentially not. What golf is still popular.
Absolutely.
And I do think the inclusion of their Netflix series has made golf more relatable, and it's building up stars in golf.
Okay.
It's promoting them full swing. Like it's promoting people that the average golf viewer might not have known, or like no backstories on these guys that makes them more personable, that makes you want to root for them instead of like, oh, I'm watching because of the Rory and where's Tiger at? That's what Full Swing has done on Netflix. It's a fantastic series. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. And I think golf is popular to a point now where it's not going to be like it was when Tiger was at his peak. That was like, I don't know if it'll ever be like that again.
Probably not.
I don't think it'll ever be like that again unless you get a guy like, Scotty Scheffler is really, really good. But
it's like he doesn't resonate.
He does not resonate. No, he doesn't resonate.
People go to their television for Scotty Scheffler.
Tiger had it all. Tiger had the name. He had the flair. He won, right? He had the look. Like everything about Tiger
definitely
was this
one of
one shooting comet in the sky, solar eclipse type of moment that lasted for 2 decades. And now golf is still very popular, but it's not driving the casual viewer like it did in the past.
But it is the Masters.
It is the Masters, and I love the Masters. And every golf course around San Diego will be packed this week leading up to the Masters because everyone gets that golf itch, right? And the weather's great, and you're like, I got to go golfing.
I didn't realize that. So Tiger Woods has made 23 consecutive cuts at the Masters, including last year. He withdrew on Sunday. So maybe he does do it. Maybe, and by the way, and if he is playing on the weekend, then you get the TV bump. Then everyone's in. If he's on the weekend, you
get the bump. You get the bump if he's in contention. If he's in if he's like a top 10, right? If he plays in the top 10,
definitely.
Definitely.
Right.
And the reason why he makes the cuts all the time is because while the course does change from a like tee box standpoint, everything's the same. The fairways are the same. The greens are going to be different, but the hole placements end up being the same on Sundays. They have the iconic hole placements on 16 and 18. Like you just know where the holes are going to be, and the slopes, and all right, what shot I can hit here and there. And that's why Tiger's made the cut so many times, because he's played that course.
Knows it so
he knows it so well.
So often.
He's won it 5 times.
So I guess, what's like the significant storyline here? Is it you're getting some of these live guys back? Is it Scotty Scheffler? Like, what's the big? It's not. There's no way the big storyline is Tiger making a cut, is it?
I would say Tiger is a big storyline.
Okay.
Because you haven't seen him, and he's debuting his new like Tiger gear from TaylorMade.
Ooh, we've seen that, the logo and stuff. We haven't seen it on course. You're saying?
Not on course yet.
Okay.
And so that's a big storyline. Tiger. The second storyline to me is, can Rory finally win another major? And that's a thing that
his last was.
Can he win a Masters? Rory has not won a Masters.
Is that completing the career Grand Slam?
Yes.
No? Oh.
And so for him, winning that major is huge. I think his odds are like plus like 1,000. I think.
Okay, so 10 to 1 or 100 to 1? 10 to 1.
10 to 1. I think.
Yep.
Scotty Scheffler, can he continue his dominance? Because he's won, I think, 2 or 3 tournaments already so far this year. Brooks Koepka, who played fantastic last year, right? Can he go back there and he win? Like, there are definite storylines for sure. That I think if you're a golf fan, you look at that and go, yeah, I'll sign up for that.
Yeah, no, and the storylines create themselves probably at the Masters in Augusta. I mean, everything is going to be.
I just hope there's weather's
not
nice,
an issue. It's kind of amazing that they dodge it. Like, it's always like the perfect time to do it. I mean, they'll have maybe some weather delays, but you watch this thing, and you're like, it's pristine. It's gorgeous. The flowers, the bloom, it's unbelievable.
So, like, listen to this. Let me just pull this up.
What's the Augusta weather?
Well, they already delayed Thursday's stuff because of the weather.
Okay, but then it looks nice. I just Googled it.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Thursday, that was the only problem. So listen to these odds here.
Okay.
All right. Rory is plus 1,000. All right.
Okay. 10 to 1.
10 to 1. So if you bet $1,000, you can win 11 grand. It's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
Brooks Koepka is plus 1,600 to win.
Okay. 16 to 1.
Zalatoris is plus 30. You have Jason Day, 4,000.
Okay.
All right. You have Hideki Matsuyama, plus 170. He's played really well. And Xander, your boy.
Yeah, what's he?
He's plus 130.
130 or 1,300?
He is plus 130 to win.
Let me see this.
Hold on.
He's not. That would be like 1 to 1.
There we go.
As opposed to 13 to 1. Let me see this.
Oh, sorry. Plus 130 to finish in the top 10.
Oh, yeah. He's made a career out of finishing in top 10s.
These were, sorry, I read these wrong. These were wrong. My bad.
These were top 10 finishes.
Rory, outright winner, plus 1,000.
Gotcha.
Brooks Koepka, outright winner, 1,600.
Gotcha.
Then you have the Hideki Matsuyama, plus 170, top 10.
Top 10.
Xander Schauffele, plus 130, top 10.
Are we still saying, is Xander still the best, or is he the best golfer in the world that hasn't won
Xander?
A major? He's got the Olympic gold. He hasn't won a major, right?
No.
So is he the best golfer in the world that hasn't won a major, or who else would be considered for that?
I mean, you could argue because he's top 10 in the world.
Right.
So, yeah.
Does everyone else in the top 10 in the world have won a major at this point?
Let me check. I think so. Top 10 golfers.
And do the world golf rankings include live golfers or not? Dude, that's good. So Scheffler, yes. McIlroy, yes. Rahm, yes. Wyndham Clark, has he won a major?
Yes. He won
Schauffele,
the US Open last year.
No. Victor Hovland, has he won a major?
Yes.
Patrick Cantley?
I think so.
Brian Harmon? Does he have a PGA championship?
I think he does.
His Ludwig Aberg, I've never heard of.
I don't know. Matthew Patrick has won a major.
Okay, so he's probably the best golfer in the world without a major.
Yeah, I think so.
And the amazing thing about it is he has been close, right? How many top 5 major finishes does he have? He's got like 10, right?
He has a lot.
So it feels like, well, it's an inevitability, but you can't say that with majors. It could take forever. It's like 4 years.
I mean, when you're ranked 5th in the world, and you not won any majors, that means you're winning a lot, getting top 10s and getting top 5s. You're just not getting that.
This weekend?
You would love it.
I know. It's all I'm talking about.
Yes, it would be.
He's been in contention a lot. A lot. So we'll see if that happens or not. All right. On the other side, we are going to hear from Dan Hurley with the Herd, Colin Cowherd on his future. There'd been speculation. You've won 2 titles at UConn. You're going to get paid more if you leave. They can't pay you what Kentucky can pay you, right? So would Dan Hurley consider walking for Kentucky and Lexington off the season? Plus, we'll keep you updated on Petco Park, Padres and Cubs. Padres are trying to win their first series of the year, and they're in decent early shape. They lead that game 2-0. A couple of early runs for the Padres behind Dylan Cease. Can the Padres win a series before an off day and then a 6-game roadie? Dodger Stadium and Milwaukee to come up for San Diego. Also this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Neil Young and Crazy Horse April 25th, Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. Ticketmaster.com for tickets and info. We will let you know when to call for those Neil Young tickets coming up around 4:40 or 4:45. But on the other side, you'll hear from Dan Hurley. We're with you until 6 p.m. This is Jon and Jim. All right, arguing the pros and cons of afternoon baseball. Plus, Dan Hurley with the herd. Is he staying or leaving UConn? Next.
This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres Cubs, final game of their 3-game series today at Petco Park. Currently, the Padres lead the Cubs 2-0 in the top of the 4th inning there. WNBA news of the day, the Indiana Fever. They have the number 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft, so they're going to draft Caitlin Clark. They're going to have 36 of their 40 games next year on national television because of it. And a source in the NHL saying that the NHL plans to move the Phoenix Coyotes to Utah. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even on the same day. Now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Offer ends 6/1. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
How do we know that the Indiana Fever are taking Caitlin Clark? What if they pull like a fast one on us?
They're taking Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
If they don't take Caitlin Clark,
That's on them.
That's their problem.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I had something else for you. We'll hear from Dan Hurley in a moment. Dylan Cease has been very good today.
We were going to complain about something.
About daytime starts. Now, we all know getaway days in baseball. There's a lot of day games across baseball because you got teams traveling. But Cubs are off tomorrow. Is that correct, Brent? We said that.
Yeah.
Padres are off tomorrow. Padres will be in LA on Friday. Cubs will be in Seattle. They'll probably travel ahead, so they'll leave for Seattle after this game. How do we just – it's one thing to play a game of one. We get it. It's a getaway day. Play early, get out of town. It's another thing to play a game at night. We understand why. Maybe it's not a getaway day. Typically play at night. We're working at school during the day. The issue with the 3:40 start, and maybe it works out well for the Padres. They're leading 2-0 right now behind Dylan Cease. The issue is the whole game is basically played in shadows. Like, I'm watching this game. In fact, Hassan Kim has just committed like his 30th error of the year. And I think shadows actually played a role in it. If you watch this whole game, and Jim, you mentioned it earlier, I mean, not the whole game, it's the whole game. Because of the way the grandstand is situated, the whole game is going to be played in shadows. And that's what's playing out right now at Petco Park. Now, they lead 2-0, all good if you win, but it's just, watch this play. You'd have to see it from where it started. It goes from sun to shadow, and he misplays it.
I don't understand it. I'm does anybody know? Does anybody can one person?
I've heard from Rich McGuire.
What
was there?
But why has he asked anybody?
He has talked to an usher.
And what did the usher
say?
And not
usher.
Like usher.
No,
not our usher.
No, and not like global superstar,
okay.
music icon, 100 million records sold usher.
Halftime show.
This is Rich McGuire, who is a season ticket holder in the stands. He says, so word I got from the usher is since it's a bobblehead day, they didn't want to do a 110 start, but 540 is too late. That's according to the usher, global superstar.
Well, also people in our YouTube chat are saying that most of the 3:40 start times this year on Wednesdays are giveaway days. I mean, if that's the reason why, like seriously, you're changing the start time of your game for giveaways.
Is your issue with it the shadowing?
My issue is the shadowing, yes.
Okay.
And then also for our show. But, mostly I'm watching this game and I'm like, that looks impossible.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
It looks, I mean, you're getting
it could be great for Dylan Cease, truthfully.
Great for Dylan Cease, but not great for the hitter.
Not great for offense.
And if you're also the first baseman, you're staring at Dylan Cease while the sun is
in your face,
right in your freaking eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And the shadows at Petco are brutal.
Yeah, they are. You're right.
So I'm like, are we really going to compromise the game on the field because you're giving away a bobblehead?
And by the way, it just happened. It absolutely just happened what you said. Now, I can't confirm the Kim. I'm not going to say, hey, Kim, it's not your fault. It's a ground ball. Okay. And sun to shade and ground balls. Come on. But they're showing them. They're thinking the same thing I am. So Kim commits a 2-out error and the next batter homers and you're tied up. Now, I can't solely put it on shadows, but Jim, what you just said is right. Are you compromising it a little bit? Again, over the course of 162, you'll play a game in shadows. Of course.
Right.
Teams travel, there's circumstance. But to just like willingly do it,
you
walked into it.
There's a reason why games everywhere are either
earlier,
1 o'clock starts or noon starts, or they're like 6:40, 7:10 around that time. Because guess what? They don't want to play in shadows.
They'd prefer not to. The players have no desire in the world to play in shadows.
And the only other time they play in shadows if they had a game at Petco Park, would be for a nationally televised game on Sunday Night Baseball.
And playoffs gets weird.
Playoffs do get
and you're
weird.
right. Sunday Night Baseball. But again, there's an explanation.
That's why I look at those games. Are like, okay, that's the reason why. If the reason why is because they want to do it for a combination of the giveaway, give me an effing break.
Yeah. Now, again, we're doing a show, and I don't have the play-by-play in front of me, Jim. Am I right to say, or Brian, are you watching this? Was it error then homer, or was there an out in there as well? Or was it a 2-out error and then a home run? I mean, that's, again, it's on Kim. You have to, it's a ground ball. It's a ground ball to short. He has to make the play. He's supposed to be an elite plus defender.
It's a ground ball to short.
And then the home run?
And then the home run.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So people are responding to my tweet that
What's
I just
your tweet?
out. So nobody knows why the Padres are having 3:40 start times at Petco this year. One person said that it's because the Padres wanted to provide options for families to attend.
No, honestly, I buy that because you can get your kids from school in April.
Mm-hmm.
You can get your kids from school, and then you can go there. 110, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that.
If you're giving away a bobblehead, they're going to make time to go to a 110 game.
You're saying, or even a 640 game.
Or even a 640 game. Like, stop. Give me a break.
And by the way, there was someone saying, and I've seen it in the chat, and I'm seeing on social media, there was a missed third strike call. But again, umpires are going to miss things.
Because they're looking at the same thing that the batters are looking at, this crazy shadow.
Let's see what Dan Hurley has to say about it. He was on with the Herd talking about shadows in baseball. No, he was talking with Colin about winning back-to-back national championship games. He's going to be sought after. What comes next?
You feel like UConn, but you don't want schools to take advantage of that, right? You've got a big market if you wanted to leave. Would you ever have to, what happens if somebody comes up and just brings up a Brinks truck and then you have to go to your boss and say, okay, they gave me $1 zillion. I like what I make. Where are you on that? Because Dan, for the next 5 years, you're going to get 50 offers. How do you kind of reconcile with the fact that you love where you're at, but you may have somebody double what you're worth? Where are you on that? What do you do with that?
Yeah, it's flattering. I've come a long way since being a high school coach 15 years ago, and haven't had to kind of work my way up the ladder in the business as a coach the way coaches did it, back a long time ago. It's certainly flattering, but I've got a long career of turning down jobs or more money to stay in places that that I was happy and that fit me and that provide me the resources to at that level achieve the things you want to achieve. And I mean, right now at UConn, my relationship with Dave Benedict and what the place means to us. The opportunity to go for a three-peat right now is the only thing that is obviously on anyone's mind here. So I just can't see that being a thing.
What do? You've just won consecutive national championships. You're highly sought after. You're on top of the sport, top of the world. You're making millions. Stay or go. Let's say you can double up. You're making, I don't even know what he's making at UConn. It's obviously a fortune of money. Let's say it's 7. Let's say Kentucky offers him 14 mil. He clearly said he's not going, but I'm asking you. If you go from 7 to 14, you've just won back-to-back national championships. You stay or go, and why?
I would say UConn, pay me more.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Like it. You guys, pay me more. And if they don't, then
you walk?
Then I'm looking at other places. Because
he's worth more.
It's worth more. He's won back-to-back national championships. His team is really good.
Yep.
I don't know if next year's team is going to be how next year's team is going to fan out.
Hard to be better than these teams.
It really is.
Yeah.
But as he mentioned there, like three-peats. I mean, when's the last time was that ever done in college basketball besides UCLA?
It just wouldn't. I don't think anyone else has done it. Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's like a feat that's you're not touching that if you go three-peat.
Right.
I guess it depends if you really think that the success was from you or the program. It's not like he was at, Texas Tech or something, and this is UConn. They won a national title under Kevin Ollie not too long ago.
2014,
so it's not like he, grabbed some, obscure school and brought them to prominence. It's Connecticut.
Yeah, it's a bit of a factory. They've had a lot of success.
So he might have in the back of his head, if I would leave for, LSU or something like that, is it going to be the same, or am I just not going to have the resources at LSU that I would here at Connecticut, which is exclusively a basketball school?
UConn is a de facto now blue blood.
Has to be.
They were before.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
agree with
Even,
that.
they're even more now.
They're like the Blues to blue bloods.
They really are. When you win back-to-back
6
national titles and you have 6 titles
Since
overall,
99.
you're considered the. I mean, didn't he say that at the podium that UConn is? What did he say? It was like a factory or
I don't know, but he's saying there's a blue blood.
Yeah, he said that UConn is the cream of the crop of college basketball, and it's the best program in college basketball. So, unless Kentucky gives him a fat contract
truck
that UConn gets close to matching,
I'd stay.
I
You're
would stay
talking
too,
legacy
yeah.
stuff. You're fine. Your family's made $1 zillion. You're going to make $1 zillion at UConn. I mean, what's the difference? I mean, I say that. What's the difference between 10 million and 15 million? It's a lot, but I mean, you're talking about legacies. A chance to go for a three-peat. He's not going anywhere.
No.
All right, call right now. Who wants Neil Young tickets for April 25th? This is 2 weeks away. Who wants Neil Young tickets? You need to call right now. 877-767-4760. Our first 2 callers will be contestants for trivia today. You need to call right now if you want these 2 free tickets to see Neil Young and Crazy Horse April 25th, right here in San Diego, Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. The number to call is 877-767-4760. Let me say it one more time. Call right now. 877-767-4760. 2 free tickets to Neil Young. That's next. All right, hey guys, imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt free. I'm talking about no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly with Loan Pronto's AI-based system. You can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home and use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. That's tons of money. Your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call 619-207-4336. Again, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Equal housing lender. All right, Jon and Jim back with you. Trainwreck Radio coming up. We still have Jim's back page. Padres completing a series right now with the Cubs and leading. So we blame Shadows. Now I'm not blaming them anymore.
Because now they're gone, so everything's fine.
Everything's fine. The order has been restored.
Yeah.
To Petco Park, they lead the Cubs 4-2. They're off tomorrow. Brian Dutcher, programming announcement. Brian Dutcher joins us in studio tomorrow at 3 p.m. Be listening right here. Jon and Jim, free iHeartRadio app, YouTube, San Diego Sports 760. Critical offseason underway. We'll get into everything. Transfer portal, NIL collective with the Mesa Foundation. They're doubling all donations, by the way, through May 15th. Mesa Foundation, SD.org. There's a ton to get into. Incoming class, what he's looking for in the portal, what's next, like with Reese Waters, Lamont Butler, Micah Parrish, right? We can ask it all tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait for him to be in studio.
Okay. Well, join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. right now. Let's
Who
play.
are you signing in the transfer portal?
Yes.
Tell us now.
Pin it to, we want names, even though that's like a violation.
Who are you
of
going
NCAA
after?
rules. Right. All right, let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Ed and Cody. Ed, you called in first. So you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Let's go with Jim.
No, that didn't sound like he wanted to be my partner.
Okay.
He's like, I guess I'll go with Jim. But let's try to win today, Ed. Cody, you get Jon, okay? Cody?
Dude, that's what I wanted.
Okay, see, that's what I thought. That's
All
what
right.
I thought. That's
Brent,
what I wanted. Just kidding, Ed.
Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right, today's question, guys. There are 6 NBA players that are shooting at least 90% or better from the free throw line this season. Name them. So today's question, there's 6 players in the NBA that are shooting above 90 or 90% or above from the free throw line. So
Now,
we want those 6.
is this like a limit for how many free throws they've shot this year? But what if when someone's like 1 for 1?
Well, then they'd be over 90%.
Use common sense, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Cody, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
I'm going to go Jokic.
Nikola
90%
Jokic.
free throw shooter?
90.
Is
That's
he?
amazing.
No, he's not.
No, he's not 90% free throw shooter. Ed, you're up next. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
Man, I got a pretty good clue. I think Steph Curry.
Steph Curry on
He
the
can
list.
shoot.
He's a pretty good shooter.
How does he not make them all?
Because it's hard to make all of
He
them.
practically does. He's the best free throw shooter in NBA history.
Oh, is he?
Yes,
Yeah,
he is.
I looked it up earlier.
Cody, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
How about Dame Lillard?
Dame Lillard. Good guess.
Wow.
On the
Well,
list. Good
Has
job.
Steph ever missed consecutive
Yes.
back-to-back?
Yeah,
Has he ever missed 3 straight in his career?
Yes.
4?
I don't know.
Well, you knew 3.
Because I've seen it in the postseason.
Okay.
He went like 4 for 8 one game.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's up? You got me confused. Who just
It's Ed's turn.
Ed's up now. Ed, what is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
Oh, man. How about LeBron?
LeBron James.
No.
Oh.
How has he been as a career free throw shooter?
Like 70s, low
Okay.
80s, I think.
So good, but not great.
Yeah, good, not great.
Yeah.
Cody, you're up next. What's your next guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
I'll go Kyrie.
Kyrie Irving.
It's a good guess, right?
Good guess.
He's on the
list. All right. So
What's
Ed,
the score?
it's 2-1 Cody, correct? All right. 2-1.
Cody, like
Stick with the Mavericks.
Yeah.
the people's elbow, Cody? or
Like
whatever?
Cody Rhodes, yes.
Right.
Cody has a 2-1 lead,
Go
but
with-
Ed,
No, I'm going to use the lifeline, though, because I can't remember the guy's name, and he's my favorite player. One of my favorite players on the Mavericks.
you're thinking Luca?
Luka Doncic.
Is that what you're going for?
You want to take that, or you don't want to have my lifeline?
That is your
Let's
life.
take
That's my lifeline, I guess. Okay, what do you got, Luca?
Jim, you idiot.
But I'm an idiot.
Son of a-
Oh, that means Cody won.
Is it over?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good week for Cody's.
Yeah, Cody's
Yeah.
are just like dominating this
Put
week.
it in your update. Cody won Trainwreck Radio. It's related. All right. So who is on this list?
All right.
So 90% free throw shooters.
Steph is number 1. He's shooting 92.2%.
That's crazy.
Then Dame, he's at 92.1. I hate saying this name. Bogdan Bogdanovic
Right, okay.
from the Hawks.
Bogdan
He's shooting 91.6. Paul George, is shooting 90.7. Then Kyrie is 90.5. And then Derek White from the Celtics is shooting 90.1.
You know who my lifeline would have been? Because you know me. I don't know. I would have said Kawhi.
Oh, LeBron is shooting, his career free throw percentage is like 73%.
Is Kawhi Leonard on the list?
Brother.
He would be 8th on the list.
Well, that's pretty good.
88.5.
Wow. That's very good, actually. All right. Well, congratulations. Who won? Cody, because it's been a big week for Cody's. You've won a pair of tickets to see Neil Young with Crazy Horse, April 25th, Calco's Credit Union Amphitheater. Ticketmaster.com for tickets and info. Keep listening this week for more chances to win, including tomorrow, again, when Brian Dr. Jones is in studio at 3 p.m. So what's our update here from Petco Park, Jim? We still have a moment.
It's 4-2 Padres. Jerks with Profar is like the greatest player ever. He had a RBI triple, but actually an RBI double, but he got thrown out at third base.
Yep.
And then Campy.
Well, Kimmy had a triple.
Yes, Kimmy had a triple, and then Campy had a RBI ground out.
Okay, so it's back to a 2-run lead.
2-run lead, 4-2 Padres.
Do we have any concerns with Kimmy's defense? Is this getting like mental? Since Sunday, 2 errors Sunday, 1 today. Like Brent said, a booted ball yesterday.
I'm gonna say no.
No, it's just it'll even out in the laundry.
Yeah,
I'm
not gonna say this guy has the yips.
No, please don't say that. No, that would be an absolute disaster. I don't think it's the yips either. All right, so we'll keep you updated on that. Can we get this game to go final while we're on the air? Probably not.
Nope.
To be honest, it probably won't happen. But we'll keep you updated on what's going on at Petco Park as we kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim. Jim's back page is still ahead as well. Hour 3 of Jon and Jim, that comes your way next.
This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres Cubs game 3 of their series. Padres looking for the series win today. They lead 4-2 in the bottom of the 5th inning at Petco Park. Moving over to women's college basketball, women's professional basketball, WNBA. The Indiana Fever, who have the number 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft this year, they're going to take Caitlin Clark. 36 of their 40 games will be televised nationally this year. In NHL news, according to sources, the NHL plans to move the Phoenix Coyotes to Utah. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even on the same day. And now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Offer ends 6/1. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. We're keeping one eye on Padres Cubs, arguably 2 eyes. It's hard for me, I guess, if I close one eye.
Johnny and Jimmy show.
Johnny and Jimmy, that's right. What do you got, Brent?
What do you think Utah has more of, Coyotes or Jazz?
That is such a good call. You know why they're the Jazz, Jim, right? Don't shake your head. No,
This should be common knowledge.
Ask
You're
the
a big
question.
NBA guy.
Why Utah is the Jazz?
Is that the birthplace of jazz? The music?
Mark that.
Oh no! I have no idea.
Oh, there's Tomorrow's Open.
Is that the birthplace of jazz? I'm gonna seriously get mad.
Yeah, Mormons invented jazz, Jim. You didn't know that?
It's not the birthplace of jazz.
I have no freaking idea.
That's why they had those big families so you could put together jazz quartets.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered why they're named the Lakers? Oh my God.
Because the Great Lakes of Minnesota.
Oh,
okay, there you go. No, put 2 and 2 together.
All right, now that you've done that,
where do you think jazz came from?
Other than Salt Lake.
Is there a lake in Utah called Jazz Lake?
He's an idiot. Okay, here's the deal. They were in New Orleans.
Yes, they moved.
They're the New Orleans Jazz.
Just like the
They didn't
Minneapolis
change the
Lakers
name.
moved to LA, the New Orleans Jazz moved, and they never changed it. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I know. That's the
We
problem.
thought everybody knew that.
I didn't know that.
Okay. I don't even know where to go with that. That could be a whole nother
The
hour.
birthplace of jazz.
That should be the
music.
newest. That should be the newest Jon and Jim shirt. Just says the birthplace of jazz, Utah. Quote Jim Russell.
Yes. I'm trying to think of other teams that have unique names like that, Brent, that haven't changed. I mean, Lakers is iconic. Jazz would be. I'm just trying to think of someone else like that. I mean, the Warriors aren't the Warriors because they're in the Bay, by the way. You know that. I mean, they were already the Warriors. You actually understand. You get that. Okay, here's what I wanted to say about that real quick. Now that Brent just mentioned it, and you've been talking about the updates, you're saying in the updates like it's a foregone conclusion. It's not that the Coyotes are going to Utah. It says they could move to Utah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Here's what's here. Here's what's here and there. I always thought this: if the Coyotes were going to move, and by the way, they're playing in a 5,000 seat arena that's owned by Arizona State. I always thought if the Coyotes are going to move, they're going to move here. And I'm naive, I think, in thinking that. Because I'm like, well, they haven't moved. It's been like 25 years of an embarrassment for the NHL. They haven't moved. So I'm like, well, they're just never going to move. But if they ever move, this was in my head, and you have the Stan Kroenke development. If they ever move, I told myself they'll move to San Diego. I was wrong. Because it sounds like if they ever move, they're going to move to Salt Lake City, based on this report.
Once again, San Diego just gets left in the dust for a professional sports team.
Now, Utah has an NBA arena.
They do. And it's also very cold there, so it kind of makes sense.
I would agree with that, too. But is it...
You don't really think hockey in San Diego.
But it's not that. I think it's more facilities, right?
Facilities, yes. And San Diego does not have the facilities.
So
they have the
we had
sports
the
arena that needs to literally just go away.
Right.
And be redone and just have a just completely better infrastructure down there. And Viejas is not set up for a professional team. So, yeah, it's all because of facilities. And it makes sense, like Utah and,
I mean, they're definitely support. I mean, I'm sure they support the Jazz. I'm sure it would be popular. Salt Lake's a big city. So, yeah, it's not to say that wouldn't be the case. But when you have a Stan Kroenke development, the issue might be timing more, Jim, than facilities. Like maybe San Diego at one point has a nice arena. Can we just say that?
We'll probably not be on the air.
I'm talking about in the sports arena site.
Correct. Yeah. It's going to be a while.
Maybe one day that exists. But the problem is, if you're the Phoenix Coyotes, can you really wait?
No.
5, 7, 9 years for that to happen.
And I mean, the NHL, like, I don't know. You've been to NHL games before, right?
I have.
They're awesome to go to.
What NHL game have you been to? Ducks, Kings? Oh, what's the team in San Jose?
I have been to Ducks games. I've been to Sharks games.
Okay.
I went to a Blackhawk game one time. Awesome.
In Chicago?
Yeah. Awesome experience.
Okay.
So, like, hey, you get the NHL in your town. Nothing like the NHL playoffs in person and just like the intensity that those games bring. And a Stanley Cup, like, if you're talking about like the coolest trophies in professional sports,
yeah, it's up there.
It's up there. Stanley Cup's up there. So
what's your point in that?
This pipe dream of having like the NHL here.
So is it a pipe dream? Even if the sports arena,
it's not going to happen.
Even
though I think NHL would be awesome.
Never going to happen. You're telling me if the sports arena actually was completed, there was a new arena that sat 16,000 people in wherever that's called. What's that area called? Midway District.
Midway District. Yeah.
In the Midway, you have a 16,000 seat new arena that will never be played. That'll never be NBA or NHL.
Sorry, the text line just said Salt Lake City is the birthplace of hip hop.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Let's be real here. This town ain't getting anything done in the immediate future. You know it. They're getting that small little tiny arena up in Oceanside for the G League team and the Soccers. But other than that, there is no way.
Private money, right?
Yeah, it's like 5,000 seats, I think.
Right.
There's no way you're getting a state-of-the-art arena in this town in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Not happening.
Not happening.
Because this town can't get anything done.
Well, Snapdragon.
Well, Snapdragon Stadium.
Snapdragon. We got Major League Soccer. We've got, right?
Now we're even giving the arenas nicknames.
Snappy. That got done, which is great. But all I'm saying is I don't think anything else besides that will be getting done here, like in a new arena, like a state-of-the-art arena. If it's built by somebody other than maybe.
Excited when they heard the idea of Stan Kroenke owning some of this development. Not just some, like a majority of the development. It has to be an NBA or NHL, but he already owns NBA and NHL teams. You can't own two, right? Doesn't he own the teams in Denver? Stan Kroenke?
Yes.
Does he?
Mhm.
Nuggets and the hockey team? Avalanche?
Yes.
He owns them. So it's not like Stan Kroenke. Now, I guess he could own an arena. He could own the development. There could be a separate owner, but we're getting way ahead. I mean, this is the conversation you could have for 25 years on Sports Talk Radio in San Diego.
You'll be running around in circles.
They've probably been having it for 25 years.
And it never will change. It won't change.
Or maybe longer. When did the Clippers leave San Diego? 84-ish? That was 40 years ago.
It's a long time ago, John. I'm not even 40 years old.
No, you're not. You're definitely not. You're definitely not 40 years old.
No.
What else you got here? We have, again, Padres Cubs in the 6th inning. Padres trying to win a series for the first time this season. They'll be off tomorrow. They'll be at Dodger Stadium to kick off a 3-game series this weekend. It felt important because we have the Dodgers looming, and then you have the Brewers looming, and you've got a 6-game road trip. So nobody wants to go into a 6-game road trip, 6-9 overall with 0 series wins. There's still a long way to go because it's the 6th inning, but it would be the start of something nice, hopefully, if they can win their first series of the year.
And so far, so good today. Dylan Cease has looked really good, knock on wood, for the rest of this game. They've gotten production from the bottom of their lineup. Hasn't been like crazy pop, but they've had, extra base hits. They have 4 runs. 4 runs is kind of like the magic number. It feels like you get 4 runs, you're going to win a lot of games, I think, especially with this pitching staff. And when you have a series that you're pitching Darvish, Musgrove, and Dylan Cease, you got to win those series. You cannot
we said that
lose series when you have your top 3 starting all 3 games. It's understandable this weekend if, with Michael King, Yu Darvish, and Matt Waldron, if you happen to lose 2 or 3, 1, it's the Dodgers. You're on the road. You're at Dodger Stadium, and you're not throwing out your top 3 starters.
Mm-hmm.
But for series that you have lined up perfectly, Darvish, Musgrove, Cease, if you don't win those series, that's just it feels like a lost opportunity, missed opportunity, big time.
Yeah. Home series.
Home series.
You're lining up the top of your rotation at home in front of huge crowds in April, which not every team in baseball is doing. Those are the series you have to get. And so far, so good for the Padres. Now, you look ahead. We talked about this a little bit maybe on the wrap-up show. I'm not sure if we talked about it on Jon Jim or not. This idea, I mean, we're all selling it like, hey, we take a 3-3 road trip, or hey, it's going to be tough because you're going to Dodger Stadium. But I mean, it is April 10th. It's not like it's impossible. I mean, is it impossible for the Padres to have a winning road trip or a good series at Dodger Stadium? It's not impossible.
Not impossible. They've done it before early in the
We've
season.
seen it before.
And it was like, whoa, remember that big comeback victory in Dodger Stadium in 2021? And they were like 7-2 versus the Dodgers at the start of the season.
In their first 9 games, then 0-9 in the last 9 games.
Couldn't beat them if the Dodgers went out there with one arm behind their back.
But that proves the point. It's not like just because the Dodgers are really good, they win every series that they play in.
True.
Even against the Padres, who have struggled against the Dodgers over the years outside of the 2022 postseason. So I guess my point would be, it's way too early to be like, there's no chance. There's no way. How could they have a 3-3 road trip? I mean, it's too early to be saying things like that, I would say. So yeah, it feels slightly daunting because we know the history of the Dodgers and the Padres, especially recently. So it feels slightly daunting, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
But if you had like a series or a road trip of like 2-4, that's a real possibility. 2-4 road trip.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Not great. And then not great about
if they don't win. If they win today, but then you go 2-4,
they'd be 3 games under 500.
And then we were joking about it last week when someone asked, like, when is the next time they're above 500? We're like, oh, they'll be above 500.
Right.
But and then by the end of the month, you're like, they're still 3 or 4 games under 500 potentially.
I think there's a lot of concern still because of the disappointment of last year, and people have like trepidation. They're like, please be good. I think they have a chance to be fine. I really do. I think they have a chance to be absolutely fine. We'll see. I mean, it's hard to make any determination off what we've seen. And by the way, if they win this game, and they still have to do it, they lead 4-2. They're 7-8. It's the same thing. I mean, who cares? There's teams that go 7-8 that play in a World Series or make the postseason or don't. Cease today, 6 innings, 7 Ks, no earned runs. He allowed a 2-run home run following a 2-out error by Ha-Seong Kim. It's now 5-2 Padres, by the way. Cronenworth has homered, so that's an encouraging sign.
He hit it into the Crone Zone.
Every single one of his home runs goes in the Crone Zone,
baby.
You should be calling these games on TV, Jim.
What would your home run call be?
Well, first of all, I called games for 15 years.
I know, but what is it?
I don't have a home run call.
No.
But maybe for Cronenworth it'd be Crone Zone.
Crone Zones. Gotta give Crone Zone some love on that one. Give him
Gotta give him some love.
Gotta give some love there.
But the story today is really
love right now.
I like that.
Give Crone Zone some love right now.
The story's by Cease, right? 6 innings, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts. That late spring training acquisition, so late that they were actually boarding a plane for Korea. That has to be the story today. 6 innings, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts from Dylan Cease.
That if you get that, that's the pitcher you traded for.
Exactly.
But it made no sense because he couldn't even go to Korea. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Why did they trade for him?
How many strikeouts do you have today?
7.
Okay.
How's that work for you on Underdog Fantasy?
I'm just wondering because the higher or lower was exactly 7 strikeouts.
They know.
They know.
They know.
They are
They've
very
crunched
smart.
the numbers.
They're very, very smart.
They've crunched the numbers.
Those smarts.
But that's really the story. I mean, like you said, the magic number is kind of 4 runs for the Padres. Score 4 or 5 runs, you're going to win a lot of games. They typically do.
Score 5 runs, you should win a lot of games with this team.
Yeah, definitely.
But there is that concern.
What's the concern?
Is the bullpen getting the bridge to the 9th inning, getting the ball to Robert Suarez. Like these next couple innings here, you just look at as okay, little teetering on the high wire here, getting to Robert Suarez. Right when you get the ball to Robert Suarez, it feels like everyone's pretty confident right now with what Robert Suarez is doing and how he is pitching. But getting there with the guys they have in that bullpen, it's a little worrisome.
And then I asked the question earlier today, how many players have good days on their bobblehead day? And Manny Machado is one of the guys that has had a good day on his bobblehead day. He had 2 hits yesterday. He has 2 more hits here today. So again, there's some things you like. There are. Cease, for example, Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado's last couple of days where he's had multi-hit games. Encouraging things that, again, it's hard to make sweeping judgments off results on April 10th.
And after Monday's game, I said they can't lose this series. You can't have that type of comeback victory and then all of a sudden lose the next two games
right,
going into Dodger Stadium.
Right.
At worst, you got to win one of the next two because then you get the first series victory of the year.
Yes.
You get a series win and you feel good about going to Dodger Stadium. Or at least you feel good about yourself having an off day and then going to Dodger Stadium.
Right.
And so far, so good.
So could we still say the 8-run comeback could be playing a larger role overall? Not today, but
it's TBD, John.
TBD, but it's still possible. If they would have lost today, it's not possible. I wouldn't have accepted losing 2 straight games off an 8-run comeback.
Yeah.
But now if they win this series, I'm willing to use it still as a possible jumping off point, not a turning point.
The only thing I could say is how it affected this series. Like it was effective. It was a jumping off point for this series. Because, we could be easily talking about today them. Did he just hit another home run?
Jurickson Profar has. He is 3 for 3.
He's like the greatest player in the history of the planet. He doesn't need Tommy Pham. What are you talking about?
Tommy Pham, you're not going to hear much about Tommy Pham anymore.
Literally, forget Tommy Pham's name.
Jurickson Profar is a different player with the San Diego Padres.
Is Craig Counsell just going to leave Kyle Hendrickson for the whole game?
He may. It's a good point.
Trying to screw me and get him into.
He should have took him out like 2 runs ago.
It's like, take him out, bro. I have a lower on 6 innings. What are you
underdog.
doing?
This is all about Jim's underdog fantasy plays. Day games with the Padres. You're right. You're not going to hear much about Tommy Pham anymore. You're right. I don't think you will.
No.
Jurickson Profar's played well, so why would we be talking about Tommy Pham if Profar is giving you production?
We're not allowed to talk about Tommy Pham anymore.
Honestly, we should not talk.
We're done.
I don't care if Profar goes 0 for 4 on Friday. Who cares? He's had a really good start to the year.
What Jurickson Profar has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You look at his numbers so far. He's hitting 333, John, and this isn't a soft 333.
No,
this is 333 with 47 at bats, 46 at bats.
Okay, yeah.
2 home runs, 10 RBIs, and he has a 930 OPS over a almost 50 at bat stretch.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And against a pitcher that's had success against the Padres in his career today, you're not just facing some rando, some nobody,
a guy that has owned the Padres. Did they take him out?
Yeah, that's how you get to a commercial break.
Yes.
They did take him out.
What I'm talking about, baby.
No, it is a good point. Profar deserves credit. At some point, you look up and someone's had 50 plate appearances or whatever the number actually is, and that's a nice start to the year for Jurickson Profar. And you kind of write someone off and say that's a 1-year one. Like, what are they really asking of Jurickson Profar? Well, maybe they weren't asking this; they're giving it to them, which is really a good sign. So there's some good signs out there. There really are. I don't think we're going to hear a lot about Tommy Pham.
No, not if you still get if you keep getting this production on Jurickson Profar, because
somewhere Tommy Pham just threw like a phone book.
Right. His asking price
keeps going down.
Like AJ's calling him up, like, bro, look, we don't need you anymore.
Right.
Like, if you want to play, I'll give you $1 million.
I don't even have a spot for you at this point.
Yeah. Now, when Manny Machado goes back in the field, if you said they signed Tommy Pham to be your DH, I'd be cool with that.
Yes, that might make sense. I still go back to okay, you could just rotate through your position players and use Luis Campusano when he's not catching. That's what I would say.
Sure.
I don't think Tommy Pham isn't a prototypical DH. Why go wait? If you all of a sudden look up and it's May 12th, is he going to be some big boost for you at that point? A couple of months into the season,
he's a name.
Yeah,
he's a name.
He had a nice year last year,
and good. Good for Profar. I was definitely thinking that having Jurickson Profar as your everyday left fielder was not going to look pretty.
Me too. I agree.
I thought it was going to look bad. Profar had a really bad year last year. He did well with the Padres in September. I think it was like 18 at bats, maybe.
Is that what it was?
It was.
But the team was playing well.
Yeah, the team was playing very well. So, his vibes are great. I thought he was here for just the vibes. But no, he's now here to produce, and that's what he's doing. He's producing. So,
1,000 OPS. 1,000 OPS for Jurickson Profar.
And
This season.
Pro's doing great, man. Pro's doing great.
We're gonna ride this wave today. Right now is a good day for the Padres. Yesterday they were listless. Monday night was amazing with the comeback. We'll ride this wave with the Padres. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because AJ Preller took a lot of heat in the offseason for a lack. I mean, a lot of it. Not just Preller, Senda, the organization. What are you waiting for? Not the fire sale, but why are you selling off? You haven't added. Well, they added a huge piece in Dylan Cease. You saw it here today.
A huge piece in
Jurickson
Jurickson Profar.
Profar. I mean, the additions he made, have been beyond serviceable. And I didn't necessarily see. You traded away Juan Soto to start your offseason off a very disappointing year. I think the questions were reasonable.
Because you had, all right, how is Jackson Merrily, Action
Great.
Jackson, gonna perform his first couple weeks of the year? He's been great. Okay. Ha-Seong Kim, I don't think he's look at the bottom. Campusano, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Campusano was a guy. How's he gonna do?
He's been
fantastic.
Yep.
Wadey, he's been okay. He's had his moments. Eggy has his moments.
Yep.
But in particular, Merrill, Campy, and Pro, those are like how those guys are going to perform. Because if those guys are like automatic outs, that's a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, they have been great. They've been great.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get a good read right now on this team, is what I would say. That's why I'm kind of tiptoeing into. I'm not making strong statements. If you've been listening to us the last two, I haven't been like, this team can't do this or this team is that. I can't say it. I don't know necessarily what they are. I'll go back to what I say at the start of the week. Cautiously optimistic. I still feel that way about this team. Same record as last year.
I mean, you get 2 runs on Sunday. You get 9 runs on Monday. You get 1 run yesterday.
You get
7 plus today.
Yeah.
If they go out and score 1 run on Friday, would I be surprised? No.
No,
But that's also the problem.
That's true.
That's the problem. When I say consistent, that has to get better. Because this up and down crap, right? One game they score 2 runs.
Yeah.
The next game they score 9. They score 1. They score 7. They score 2. The average total runs scored might look good because they had a couple outbursts there.
But your point is, as opposed to 9-1-7, whatever it is, you want 5-5-5-5 because 5-5-5-5 is 3-1, where 9-1-7-1 is 2-2.
Yep. Whatever you just said,
you know what I mean?
I have no clue what you
Like
just said.
9-1-7-1 is 2 wins, 2 losses. Hear me out.
Okay. Oh yeah.
5-5-5-5 is 3 wins, 1 loss. Let's just say.
Yeah.
Because you can lose a game, but you're going to win 75% of the time or more.
Yeah. Or if you
runs.
said, all right, 9-1-7 is what? 17 runs?
Yes. 5.67 per game.
Okay. So would you rather go 9-1-7 or 5-5-5?
5-5-5, of course. You want 5-5-5 all year long.
Yeah.
But easier said than done.
Right.
Because you face good pitchers some days. You face
Now,
bad pitchers some days.
Now, again, if you scored 5 runs on Monday, you lose. You score 5 runs yesterday, you maybe lose.
You get the point, though.
Yes.
Last year when they scored 4 runs, they won 75%.
I'd rather this team score 5 runs and take their chances than
9, then 1,
yes.
7, then 1.
Yes.
All right. Brian Dutcher's going to join us in studio tomorrow. What are the Aztecs' needs? Okay. In the portal season is underway. Brian Dutcher, he'll join us in studio tomorrow. What are the Aztecs' needs heading into next year? Plus Jim's back page still ahead. Stay with us. All right, what are the Aztecs' needs in the portal? It's portal season for men's basketball, plus Jim's back page still ahead.
This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres Cubs final game of the 3-game series. Padres all over the Cubs today, 7-2, thanks to a couple of home runs by Jake Cronenworth and Jurickson Profar. They have an off day tomorrow before they go on a road trip. Well, they take on the Dodgers this weekend. Moving over to the WNBA, I just blanked real quick. Hold on.
Fever?
Wow, the Indiana Fever.
You know why they're named the Fever, Jim?
No, I don't. Why?
They invented the fever in Indiana.
Oh, well, they're going to have 36 nationally televised games next year out of their 40 games because they're going to draft Caitlin Clark. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, even on the same day. And now at Staples, save $50 off your print purchase of $150 or more. Offer ends 6/1. Visit staples.com/print for details. Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
If you missed it earlier, I don't even know what Jim said about the Utah Jazz, but it made no sense.
I blanked.
You had to blank. It'll be in the open tomorrow.
Utah's the birthplace of jazz.
That's what he said.
Not the Jazz,
That's why
but
he
Jazz.
thought they were called the Utah Jazz, not because they moved from New Orleans, but because it's the birthplace of jazz. You know, all those iconic jazz musicians right out of Salt Lake and Park City.
Like I said, all the Mormons are really into jazz.
Provo, Salt Lake, Park City.
Everyone on YouTube almost saw Jim just spit his water out on his laptop.
I did Google why are they called the Indiana Fever, and I couldn't find it in 2 seconds. My theory is they've got like a fever for basketball in the state of Indiana.
Okay,
yeah, that's my theory on it, but I'm making it up. I'm making it up.
I'm an idiot.
Your words. All right, we'll keep our eye on the Padres. We have Jim's back page ahead. Now, Brian Dutcher joins us in studio tomorrow at 3 p.m. for 20 plus minutes. We'll talk to him for like 20, 25 minutes. We'll talk about the portal, his return ease, those that are in the portal. Kate Allinger going in yesterday, what his needs are potentially as well. The role of NIL, right, is playing right now in college basketball. Now, I think we touched on this briefly yesterday. When we say need, San Diego State. I think the biggest is you don't have Jaden Ledee. We don't need to wait on any announcement there. He's out of eligibility. So, and also you don't have Darion Trammell, the most outstanding player of the South Regional 2 years ago, that has been a weapon, obviously, for the Aztecs as a guard each of the last 2 years. So you got to replace both of them, right? They're both out of eligibility. They both played huge roles over the last 2 years.
You have a lot of work to do. You just do, because when you lose an All-American and you don't really have that All-American to take his place, or a guy that you believe that could be an All-American, or at least give you the scoring that Jaden gave you last year consistently. I mean, Jaden was a dominant.
He was amazing.
When you needed a bucket, you get the ball to Jaden Ledee.
Mm-hmm.
Going downhill, he was either going to get fouled, go to the free throw line, or he was going to get a bucket.
Yeah, you're right.
And he had an incredible season. One of the best seasons in school history.
Yep.
So replacing that is hard. Very hard. Like, we talked a lot about the national title team. We're like, man, how are they going to replace these guys? How are they going to replace this and that? Well, we knew Jaden, and everything we've heard about Jaden was, this guy is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Aztecs have that player on their team right now where it's like, whoa?
But, okay, I see what you're saying. Do they have a player that's going to step into Jaden's shoes? Obviously, that's asking a lot. But a couple, there's two secret weapons here. I want to ask Dutch about this tomorrow. Magoon Gua, what's his ceiling? What's his role going to be next year? He's a 7-footer that they redshirted. Here's my other thing. Jim, you're right. They don't have Jaden Ledee coming off, 2 years ago and making that leap, maybe. But they do have the transfer portal. So how do we know what they're potentially capable of doing in the portal? As in, how do we know they can't go out and get someone? I'm not saying Jaden Ledee. He just had the best season in school history, to your point. But can you get someone that is a double-double? That is a 5, or, a forward that can, score 12 points and grab 9 rebounds.
I mean, potentially. It's not like it's the hardest thing in the world to do.
I'm just asking, the question. Like, can't they show prospective transfers? Hey, look at what Jaden did last year in our system. You'd fit in well here too. And by the way, it's 70 and sunny.
No, that too. That's great.
Viejas is great.
It's awesome. Great atmosphere,
right?
They could.
So you're not sold on that, even with all the successes they've had in the portal. Like, what are the last couple of years of portal additions? Ledee.
But it took a couple of years.
It did.
And even when he got here, you didn't see him for a year. And then,
and back in the redshirt rules,
redshirt rules,
transfers,
right? And then you saw him, and she showed glimpses, but again, he came off the bench last year, only averaged 7.5 points, or 2 years ago, excuse me. And if the guys that are still eligible to stay.
Okay, so we're talking about, let's say, like
Reese Waters, Micah Parrish, Lamont Butler.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like Miles Bird, Elijah Saunders, Miles Heide.
I think those 3 guys are going to be there.
Okay, yeah.
But a guy like Reese Waters, could he elevate his game? Because at the beginning of this year, when he was starting,
he was
fantastic.
Terrific. Yeah, he really was.
He had like 26 points against Washington, or what was the game he had? He was fantastic.
Well, the game against Gonzaga, he scored 20 plus points, I think.
He was fantastic.
He was
to start the season, and then I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was moving him to the bench or whatnot. I want to ask Dutch about that tomorrow. Like, what if Reese Waters comes back? Like, what do you think? How do you unlock him? Because he is a definite scoring threat that the team needs.
His season, he had 22 at Gonzaga, which he had 24 against Point Loma, but his Division I high was 22 at Gonzaga. But listen to this out of the gates: 15 against Fullerton, 15 at BYU, 15 Long Beach State, 19 St. Mary's, 13 Washington. Oh, excuse me. He didn't have 24 against Point Loma. He had 24 against Cal.
That's who I was
San Juan
thinking of.
Capistrano. He was the MVP of that game. Yeah,
right.
You're right.
That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah, but to your point, he was terrific out of the gate.
Yeah, you get that if Reese Waters returns next year and you get that production, but like for a full season.
Yeah, you
feel good. It's huge, massive. You need that. Let's be real here. You're not replacing Jaden. You're just not. You're going to have to replace Jaden with multiple players.
Are you going to tell Dutch that tomorrow? I'm excited for this conversation.
Well, I think he would tell. Okay, fine. I'll ask him. Hey, Dutch,
how do you replace
Jaden? And he's going to tell us
it's tough.
It's tough. You can't replace him with one guy because Jaden's one of one.
Right.
And if he tells me like I'm an idiot, I heard you yesterday, and guess what? We're going to replace Jaden with even better version of Jaden Ledee.
I'm excited
moron.
for that. Write that question. I'll ask him also why the Utah Jazz are called the Jazz. Brent is like, everyone's laughing but Jim.
About the Great Lakes of California.
Why are you mad now? The Padres have added on. You look very upset
for a play that I have right now for underdog.
That's why you're mad, because it's impacting your play negatively.
Impacting me in a
You
negative
personally.
way. Personally,
Right,
yes.
not the team. The team's doing great. They're about to win a series against the Cubs.
It's awesome. They're going to win this game. It's going to be fantastic.
Yes, they are. Okay, well, Brian Dutcher is going to join us in studio tomorrow at 3 p.m. If you're an Aztec fan, please join us. By the way, there's a match going on right now, MesaFoundationSD.org. If you're concerned about the future of San Diego State men's and women's basketball, the role that name, image, and likeness is playing, your donations are matched right now, MesaFoundationSD.org. I'm sure Dutch will talk about that and touch on that tomorrow at 3 p.m. as well. It's an off day for the Padres tomorrow. We will look ahead, of course, to the second series of the year against the Dodgers, the first in the U.S., but the second series already this year.
This one feels like real, like more like this one feels like it's the first time.
I know it was kind of weird. We were up at all night back to, I say we. I
was up all night for back-to-back days.
That's why when I'm like, Kim was great in Korea. You're like, he didn't have a hit. I'm like, dude, I slept through all. I was like on the road with San Diego State and
he
in my
was the
hotel
only
room.
Player in the Korea series
He
that
didn't
have a hit for the Padres. Yeah,
in 15 runs in the game, he never hit.
Didn't have one hit.
But he did, like you said, in that exhibition game. He had like 5 homers.
The greatest exhibition game performance of all time.
He was really good in that game.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to look forward, though, over the next couple of days as well to Padres-Dodgers, kind of round 2, coming up at Dodger Stadium. But on the other side, we'll get to Jim's back page. We're with you until 6 p.m. Stay with us. All right, Jim's back page. We've got that for you coming up next. Join us tonight. We'll have a wrap-up show for you on YouTube at 9:30. If you're a Padres fan, Padres and Cubs wrapping up the 3-game series right now. Petco, Manny Machado bobblehead day. All is well in Padre land. They lead 9-2, heading to the 8th inning downtown Petco Park. So join us tonight 9:30. Me and Jim. Me and you.
Johnny and Jimmy.
Johnny and Jimmy. We'll
Johnny
talk
and
about
Jimmy.
what Schulte has to say post-game.
Yes, we will.
Got the off day. They can enjoy it. It's going to be sunny tomorrow in San Diego. I would assume they spend the off day in San Diego. You don't need to go to LA to sit there. Maybe travel late in the day tomorrow.
Bus.
Yeah, bus up there, have a nice dinner, and get ready for.
Yeah. I mean, I hate LA, but that commute or the travel for them.
True, maybe you're not traveling.
They're not like going on a plane. You're just getting on a bus.
No, that would be weird if they got in a plane.
They'd get there in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, true. Maybe less than
But it
that.
would cost a lot of money to take a
True.
plane.
It is, but to your point, like you take a bus, like it could take a while, right? You don't want to leave at like 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah, and you're on like just this charter bus and it's whatever.
You think it's nice?
I hope it's nice.
Think the air conditioning works?
Probably. You think Manny like has like a nice like seat cushion?
Do you think Manny has to sit next to someone?
Does he get his own row?
Like, do they double up on that? But it's, by the way, when I was in AAA, I worked in the minor leagues.
What?
When I was in AAA, we had multiple buses. So I can only imagine how many buses they have in the big
They
leagues.
have like a Starship bus.
I wonder if they have 3. They got to have 3. They have to. With their staff, they have to have at least 3 buses. Anyway, tomorrow, Brian Dutcher will join us at 3 p.m. Right now, let's get to this.
So I was talking about this, I think last week, the copy of the Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman.
Yeah, you said it was worth like $1 zillion or something.
And it was up for auction and it was super rare. And this was the best conditioned comic of that comic like ever to be going up for auction. And at the time of the story that I said, I believe it was already at $4 million.
That's crazy.
Guess what it sold at?
5.973.
I think it was closer to 10.
$6 million. It sold for $6 million. Record sales for a comic book ever.
6 million?
$6 million.
I said 5.973.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a part of a 4-day comic auction event that featured several big-name superheroes and rare comic featuring themes. The event gained more than $28 million by the end of Sunday for all of the auctions that they did.
That's a lot of money.
It was wild.
It's a lot of money.
I would never buy a comic book for $6 million. I'm sorry.
Dude, I wouldn't buy a comic book for $6.
I know you wouldn't. 1938 copy. And it was graded at an 8.5.
Wow.
That means the comic was like in pristine condition.
Yeah, this is almost 100 years old, right?
Yeah, fantastic condition.
Okay.
So, $6 million for...
If I ever have $6 million, that's not what I'm doing with it. I know that. I already know that. What else?
Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles could finally open in the next few months in San Diego.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, haven't we? But it just hasn't opened. Okay.
Yeah, for like 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say.
After pausing construction on the site in Barrio Logan at the end of 2022, the legendary establishment has resumed construction, and it could be open within the next couple months.
Okay. That's the only location?
Well, in San Diego.
This is the only location
in
San Diego. Okay.
So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Roscoe's
Chicken and Waffles. I mean, have you ever been? No, you haven't.
No, I'm a
vegan.
vegan.
Have you been? Have you been to Roscoe's, Brent?
Because I'd have to go to LA.
Right.
I've been one time,
and
I like chicken and waffles though.
And I thought it was fantastic. The thing with the waffles is they're very thin. They're a very thin waffle. So if you like the puffy, doughy, kind of thick waffles, you're not getting
two. They're not Belgian waffles.
They're not Belgian waffles.
Order two. Put them on top of each other.
It's like
now you're thinking.
Yeah. But the chicken there, fantastic. Fantastic
They have any
chicken.
vegan options?
Let me answer that for you, John.
Plant-based?
Yeah, the waffles.
Waffles plant-based, you're right.
No. Here's a crazy story.
Okay.
All right.
Well, can you eat waffles though? Because they have eggs in it.
Yeah. Come on. I just
meant like an actual vegan, not you.
A vegan couldn't, no.
Okay.
But I can. I'm a fake vegan.
This is like the biggest at bat in my life right now.
I'm gonna laugh. I'll let you know what happens.
Oh,
well, actually, here, let's pause Jim's back page for a second. Breaking news from the New York Times. Ippy, Ohtani's former translator,
is he under arrest?
Will plead guilty.
Oh boy.
To federal charges. Ohtani is a witness in the case.
Oh boy.
Ippy will plead guilty. He will take the fall.
Yes, he will.
Per the New York Times, he will plead guilty to, I guess, stealing money, right? Jim lost his bet.
Speaking of stealing money.
Yeah. So, how do you say Ippy?
Who cares?
Yeah, sure.
Who cares? Like the biggest story, like sports.
I just lost
That's what Shelty
$250.
would
No,
call
you
him.
didn't.
I lost.
No, you could have won.
Could have won $250.
He's in negotiations to plead guilty to federal crimes in connection with theft. Per the New York Times.
All right.
Not Ohtani, Ippy.
No, Ippy.
Yeah. Okay. What else you have?
Finally, this is a crazy story. So in 1997,
yeah.
All right, a 1997 Metal Universe Michael Jordan card.
Okay. Metal Universe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be bought for $2.49.
$2.49.
$2.49 in 1997.
How much is it worth now?
It is worth $150,000.
Wow.
And it's only graded out to a 5. Like it got graded to a 5.
And it's still worth that much money.
And
They're
so
that rare, we're saying?
They're that rare.
I don't even know what these are. Do you, Brent, know this? This metal what?
I don't know.
I'm looking it up right
I was
now.
just going to say. It's not exactly O-Pee-Chee or like, what was the other one with the colors in the background? Sky. What was that called?
Oh, Skybox.
Skybox.
I used to love those.
Yeah, me
those
too.
in Upper Deck. Upper
Oh.
Deck was like you like that was the rich kids cards.
I know
If they
they're
had
nice.
Upper Deck, is like, oh, you
I
got
know.
money because
They
those
were
are
nice.
expensive.
The story is 1997, two friends bought 2 packs of Metal Universe basketball cards at $2.49 each. One of them asked if they wanted to split the packs. The other said no.
Oh.
The splitter got an MJ card. 27 years later, the now man is selling that card for $150,000.
That's amazing. Now, is he going to get that? He's selling it for that. It's worth that?
That's what you get.
Wow.
Oh, it is an Upper Deck.
It is an Upper Deck.
It is Upper
Oh,
Deck,
it's like a
yeah.
specialized Upper Deck card.
Yes.
Got you.
It looks like it was a set of like 10.
Wow. That never happens to us.
Never.
It never happens to anyone. That's how you get $150K for a card.
Like I feel like at one point in my life I had cards that were worth a lot of money, and I just said screw it.
Did you sell them?
I still do somewhere at my parents' house, but
You have cards that have value?
Yeah. Well, we used to buy, you could buy like the whole year's things in like the big long box.
Like a box.
Yeah.
Like a set.
Yeah. Me and my dad have like sets from McGuire's rookie year, Bonds' rookie year, pretty much all the 83 through like 85 guys in there.
Gotcha.
So.
I wish I got
card
into
values
it
went
again.
down though.
What's that?
Card values went down though. That's not.
I want to get
they're
into
not
it.
worth
That's
what
fun.
they used to be.
Unless
Unless you're in Jim's back page.
Correct.
True.
Some are worth a lot. Like Mahomes rookie cards worth a lot.
Yeah, I bet it is. By the way, congratulations for the Padres who are going to win this game, but no congratulations to Jim, who was a loser.
I'm a big time loser.
Brian Dutcher will join us tomorrow in studio at 3 p.m. We hope you can join us then. Dodgers off day. They'll get set for a series at Dodger Stadium against LA on Friday evening. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. You can find us on social media by searching for Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Okay.